Welcome to the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the Force be with you.
Looky, Senator. Decent Jedi arriving.
Let's make this our best show ever.
I will sign no treaty, Senator.
I am the Senate.
This is the way.
Hello, Star Wars fans, and welcome to the latest episode of the Positively Star Wars Senate podcast. This episode is recorded on Sunday, the 8th of October 2023, using the powerful dyad of the Force, which connects two Force-sensitive beings, making them one in the Force, and sharing a connection that spans across time and space. However, we have to make do with Microsoft Skype in this case. My name is Stephen, the Chancellor of this Senate, the obligatory Brit contingent of this otherwise American skeleton crew, as we get together to talk positively about Star Wars for the next hour or so. This episode is brought to you by the Mortis Gods.
I am neither Sith nor Jedi. I am much more.
The powerful family of Force wielders that reside on the planet Mortis. They consisted of the son, who aligned with the dark side of the Force, and the daughter, who aligned with the light side of the Force, and the father, who represented the balance of the Force. Both the son and the daughter were immortal, so long as the father remained alive. Spoiler, if you haven't seen the Clone Wars, he dies. Also, before we get going proper, it's time to have a quick word from our sponsors.
Star Wars. You can battle for the galaxy with new Episode 3 lightsabers. You can choose Obi-Wan's lightsaber with Force vibration. Train with Jedi Master Yoda.
What rarity you have?
And choose your destiny like Anakin Skywalker.
He chose the dark side. Where to find it, too.
With the Darth Vader voice changer, the transformation is complete.
Don't know the power of the dark side.
New Star Wars lightsabers and voice changer. Each sold separately. Paper batteries not included. As an adult before going online.
Thank you very much for our sponsors, keeping us on air as always, so that we can bring you all this Star Wars goodiness. So, whereas I'm in the UK, I am joined from across the great big pond by my positive friends in the United States of America. And in Skype random order, we have Marie.
Hello.
We have Tony.
Hi, everyone.
We have Ricky.
Hello.
We have Ryan.
Hello there.
And last but not least, the grandfather of the crew, Ron.
Greetings and salutations, fellow senators, Chancellor.
Thank you very much. By grandfather, I'm not suggesting you're that old. You just happen to be the oldest
great
one
grandpa.
You're just the oldest one here.
Hey, Stephen, I just realized something.
Still young. Still very young, Ron. Yes.
I just realized this is our 3-year anniversary of the podcast.
Is it?
Almost to the day.
Really?
Oh, where's the party? Who brought the booze?
Wow.
All right,
At 7 in the morning? I don't think so.
we should have done this in the cantina. I didn't know this. We could have had a nice little booze and drinks and stuff. Well, we'll just have to pretend as we go along. Maybe at the end we can have a quick summary that will last 3 years, which for me will just be I can't remember them, so everybody else can help. So before we get going with the show, as ever, we have the Senate quiz questions.
Spoiler warning. Sir, spoiler warning. Spoiler warning.
Yes. In each Senate episode, I'll give you 2 questions at the start of the episode for everyone listening and for our senators here with us to think about and give the answers at the end. If I remember, I might even give the questions again in the middle, but I probably won't remember. So if you wish to know the answers, please listen to the end of the episode, or if you're really lazy like me, skip to the end, listen to the answers, and then come back to where we are here now. So, as we are going to be mostly talking about Ahsoka this time round, these are Ahsoka questions, of course. And as anybody knows, when I set quiz questions, I don't like to go for anything too obvious or necessarily too easy, as Ryan would say. So here we go. So in the finale, bit spoilers, we haven't got to it yet. We see Mori. Can I get that one right? Mori, the bird, as I call it, but it's not a bird.
Morai,
that's it, Morai. So the question is, what are the colours of Morai's eyes, and how tall is she?
Oh, jeez.
I know. As according to Wikipedia.com, other sources of Star Wars knowledge and information are available. And also, received the Sword of Talzin, in the Filani as well. But in the Clone Wars, who did Mother Talzin duel with using that blade?
This one.
I bet Ricky knows the answer already. So we want to know the color of Moira's eyes and how tall she is, and we want to know who Mother Talzin did battle with using the sword of Talzin in the Clone Wars, using her blade. Does anybody think that they might have the answers?
I think so.
It'll be all random guesses from me as usual.
Yes. And just to thoroughly embarrass Ryan later, I should let you guess on the first on the on the ones.
Is it feet or meters?
I've got them
imperial measurements.
Metric or standard?
Yeah, on Wikipedia they had them in meters and inches.
Okay. What?
I want to set both, or I could Google convert to something else.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So onwards and onwards, we've got 3 episodes of Ahsoka to get through since we were last here in our emergency Senate, which was just after the World Between Worlds episode, which was episode 5, entitled Shadow Warrior. So since then, September the 19th, the 26th, and just good grief, it's only this week, wasn't it? Or last week, depending on when you start your weeks. We had the Filani. So going back to September the 29th, September the 19th, we had part 6, which was entitled Far, Far Away. Is this the one which started with Huron giving his...
Yeah,
it wasn't it? So, as I'm reading this off Wikipedia, so I have not made up my own little synopsis, and apologies because Wikipedia does sometimes get things slightly wrong, so people can correct me as I'm going along. So it starts off with the recap is the Eye of Sion arrives on Peridia. I've forgotten already. Peridia, that's it. Why isn't it written like it sounds? The ancient homeworld of Elspeth's people, the Dathmiri. Elspeth, Skull, Shin, and Ren meet the Great Mothers, a group of Night Sisters, aligned with Thrawn. As they wait for the Grand Admiral, Skull relates to Haiti, or Shin, as I like to say, his belief that the fall of the Jedi and the rise of the Empire were part of an inevitable cycle, one he intends to break. Thrawn arrives aboard his Star Destroyer and honours Skull's promise by providing Ren with provisions, amount, and Bridger's whereabouts. After Ren leaves, Thrawn orders Skull Shin to follow her so that they can both kill her and Bridger. Surviving an ambush by bandits, Ren encounters the native Nochi and follows them to the village. That's the Turtles people, where she reunites with Bridger. While tracking Ren, Skull senses there is a greater power on Bridger and tells Shin that he intends to find it and use it. I don't remember him saying quite that. As the Great Mothers sense Ahsoka's imminent arrival, Thrawn demands all the details of her history from Elsbeth, who then goes off and Googles all about Ahsoka so he can prepare his defences. I made that bit up, of course. So, yes, as I was saying in the preamble, which nobody hears, this is my favourite episode of the entire season for numerous reasons, because it just had ticked all the boxes and just revealed lots of new stuff, and it doesn't quite give the greatness that was Howler in this, which actually is the name of the species, but there's only one Howler, and it's the one that Sabine was riding. Which is
the one that she yells at? And you just like,
sorry?
Yeah. Feels like the one that she yells at makes me like a bad dog.
With, but then it becomes a soft little puppy, those little eyes and that tongue. Oh, yes, and everybody wants one. If they don't make a toy of it, then I'd be very disappointed because I think I might get one on the shelf here. Okay, so we'll start with everybody's thoughts and we'll go around in Skype order. There's a bell here sounding, so that must be the cat, and so it must be Marie.
That's me.
Well, not you, the bell, the cat is where the bell.
Yes, he's playing around with his collar. That's why I took it off him and he's playing with it now. What did I think of this episode? It wasn't my absolute favorite. That goes to the Shadow Warrior, but I did like it a lot. The turtles reminded me of something off of Fraggle Rock rather than like turtle people. I don't know.
Dozers, and little small things that made Bill.
No idea what that.
Yeah, it reminded me of something off of Fraggle Rock, but it looked like they had that very Jim Henson look, but they were cool, and seeing Ezra again was kind of emotional, more emotional than it seemed it would have been for Sabine, because I would have just like been crying.
Yes.
Were
they animated? Do you think the turtles were not turtles, which are not turtles? Do you think they were animated or CGI?
Those must have been CGI, or maybe a combination.
CGI. I think it might be a bit of a mixture, but they look quite good at times, I have to say. Yeah. Okay, go on. Sorry.
I think that was it. I mean, I like this episode. This whole show has been wonderful for me. There weren't a lot of things I picked up on this particular episode, but yeah, so far.
This episode introduced everything. It introduced the Night Sisters. It's the first time we actually saw Thrawn speak and do anything, and his night troopers and the makeshift Star Destroyer, Howner, Notchi, Bridger. There's absolutely everything in it for me. So that made it the best episode of the series. Even better than Finale, I would say, for me.
I could see that. I mean, one of my favorite things about the prequel era and the era before, like the whole rebellion and all that, anyway, is Anakin. So that was always going to be my favorite episode, no matter what, the Shadow Warrior one. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, the elements with Thrawn showing up, and I still think the Thrawn should have gone to another actor, but Lars Mikkelsen did a hell of a job with that one. And the Night Sisters, which were creepy, and then they had that whole vibe of the Fates with them, because the Greek myth, because there's the three of them, and I have yet to. I heard somebody refer to them with the names of the Fates, which I can't remember the names, Clotho and something else, but I heard somebody refer to them with those three names, and I'm not sure if those are their actual names or if they just use that as a convenient kind of stand-in for whatever their real names are. But that was interesting, because they have that whole element of that. I'm really glad that Star Wars is actually bringing in kind of that, all those hints of mythology with like Balin Skoll and Shin Hati, with the Skoll and Hati being the two wolves from the Norse mythology, and then the Greek mythology with the Night Sisters, which there are three of them. All of that, the great mothers of the Night Sisters, I should say.
Yes, I can't get enough. I do think that the Night Sisters work slightly better in cartoon animated style than they did here, but I do love the Night Sisters.
The creepy voices, I love that.
The creepy voices are still good. They're still good, and the costumes are still good. It's just the magic looked a bit not as good as it looks actually animated, for me anyway. But okay, we're moving on. Tony.
Yeah, I enjoyed this one too. To be honest, I was kind of racking my brain a little bit when you brought it up, because I kind of didn't remember what happened anymore in this episode. But now that you guys have kind of talked it out, I do remember, and yes, I did like it. I think for me, I liked the Howlers, a lot. I thought they were cool. They were in this one, right?
Yes,
they were.
Yeah, okay. So I liked that a lot. The turtles, they were cute. They were just like another Ewok type character, or Jawa kind of thing. So they were cool. I think the thing that stood out to me the most, though, which Marie touched on a little bit, was that the reunion of Ezra and Sabine was very muted. More.
They hugged for like 5 minutes.
More than I would have expected. It's like they're kind of like, hey, oh hey, it's like it's yeah. I mean, you haven't seen each other in a decade. This was the whole reason, like you're together again, was to come, like, go hug the guy. You know what I mean? It's like
they hugged.
Did hug eventually.
Did they?
Yeah. They hugged for a while. And she's like sitting there with their head on his shoulders, and they hugged.
I think one of them raised one of their feet. Yeah,
I kind of felt like they were like 30 feet away, just going.
No, I just watched it again yesterday. Yeah.
Did you? Okay, then I don't know. I don't know. I think I expected a little more like emotion. It's like they.
Did you want?
I don't know.
You wanted it like Joey's. You want Joey's hey.
Well, you're not going to have the music play in the background while they're running in slow motion to each other. That's kind of.
I didn't need that, but
I don't need that. But I mean, just like, I don't know. It's like it's the person that you embarked on this huge mission. You know this, and you haven't seen him in 10 years. And him too. He hasn't seen like anybody that he knows and cares about. It's like, you know, God, jump up and down a little bit. You know?
They're Jedi. There's no emotion. They're lucky they
Oh
hug.
gosh. And
There's
he's
no
just
emotion. There's
he's kind of
peace.
casually leaning against his hut. You know, like sup. You know, it's like I don't know.
Hey.
Yeah, that was the only thing. But you know, but I think everything else. The one thing I've heard about, which it's a bit of a nitpick, and it's kind of if anything, it has more to do. It's like Rebels' fault. The show Rebels and the episodes is Thrawn. Again, I think Marie mentioned him. You know, it's great. Lars is, you know, good. The voice is perfect, and you know the look is good. I think his physicality is a little bit less
non-existent
than what I would have expected. And I don't have a problem with that necessarily, but you know, because everybody's like, you know, it's been 10 years, he's older, whatever, he's kind of let himself go. This character would not have let himself go. Okay, they made those. No. They had those episodes in Rebels where, you know, he had his like jacket off and he's like fighting against the robots, you know, that are set to kill, basically. You know, so the guy keeps himself fit. You know, he keeps himself trained at the top of his game. So yeah. he's got nothing better to do this decade that he's been away, you know, than to keep himself fit and keep himself battle ready for the day that he makes it back to the galaxy.
I can see him every 8 o'clock in the morning, just jogging around the Star Destroyer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was kind of my biggest surprise.
That I would think that is because, you know, they made a specific point of showing that, like in Rebels. You know what I mean? So I felt like that was the only reason that they should have possibly cast somebody else. You know, he didn't.
You wanted a Jack Thrawn.
I didn't want a Jack Thrawn.
Not Jack.
I did.
You know, like a little fitter.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit.
I'll say
of course you did.
More fit. You know, because look at Balin. I'm sure the actors are not far off from each other in age, and you know, Balin, you know, is a pretty fit looking dude. You know what I mean? So the same should have been true for Thrawn, is my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was my biggest shock, was he just looked, you know, and again, he's the voice actor, which is great, but it's just more evidence to me. Don't hire the voice actor just for nostalgia points. Hire who would best do the character. I mean, it works for some, you know, for Bo-Katan, she stays fit. She's in movies. She was in Chronicles of Riddick. Like, she's a legitimate BA in movies. So it makes sense for her to be here. But Thrawn, it's like, he's an alien. He stays fit. You know, I love the Mickelsons. His brother's great too. But I'm like, man, I just don't. He was not threatening at all whatsoever.
Maybe the gyms broke. You know, they had to sacrifice the parts for the gym on the.
Lots of mountains for him to run up and down. Did he not see Rocky IV?
Yeah, I suppose you're right. He could have been just right. He could just run around, couldn't they? Don't need all those.
Yeah,
he could have outrun the Howlers.
But anyway, outside of those two things, everything else was pretty enjoyable.
We could have had some Night Sister magic to sort of like buff him up as well, that kind of stuff. And interesting.
You guys all know who would have been my pick for Thrawn. I'm not going to go over it again.
Okay, we're moving on. Ricky.
Go on.
Yeah, I like this episode. I love the. See, we keep calling them turtles, but I think they're more snail-like. Cause I think they have shells.
Well, because we say turtles also have shells. Shell, yeah.
But it looks like they go into. I don't know. They're cute though.
No, they stand. Don't forget they stand up. So
they do stand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like snails.
Like a show.
Yeah, no, they're cute. I love every time Star Wars has little creatures and stuff like that. That's what made it fascinating as a kid. So. My daughter absolutely loves them too, and the Howler was awesome the way they did it. I wonder if they use like a real dog or a horse or something for that to, to get the movements right and everything. Because I think in Solo they actually used dogs for the dogs that were in there. They just put like costumes over them, but it looked pretty. It didn't look CGI to me either thing. I mean, it was CGI, but they did a really good job. I liked all the exposition stuff with Balin. You kind of listen to what he was trying to tell Hati about, like, oh, well, I'm trying to find this power, and it's just the cycle repeats itself, and they keep having these wars of Jedi and Sith, and it needs to end, So that's a lot of exposition there. I didn't catch the first time I watched it. I watched it again, and I caught a lot more in there, but I mean, I thought Thrawn was fine.
That
I
should have
mean,
clued us all into what happens
yeah.
towards the end, but
It just goes over
didn't.
your head while you're watching it the first time. Like,
Yeah,
he's
it just hit
talking.
me
Yeah.
right now that it should have clued us into what he's looking for.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked all of that stuff, and then I liked the reunion with Sabine and Ezra. I thought it was fine. I like the guy that plays Ezra is like spot on. I feel like I'm watching the cartoon character because he just sounds like him, the way he moves around. It's Ezra. Like that's just spot on the way he does. But yeah, I thought it was a great episode. I liked all the other stuff. I thought Thrawn was fine. I'm not the biggest Thrawn fan anyways, but I mean, he's more of a mind villain than anything else. And who knows, maybe he had a hardship getting there. Maybe he's barely like getting back on his feet when we show him, when they show him for the first time. So who knows? But yeah, I love the Nine Sisters and all that stuff. Anytime Star Wars gets weird and you have creatures and aliens and people in full costume, I love it. So
it's nice to have lots of aliens in a show. Hey, Ricky?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
and exotic planets and all that kind of stuff. It's cool. I like it when it gets weird. So it feels like you're outer space and alien planet. So.
Lots of aliens. A bit of poo poo poo. Speaking of which, Ryan.
So I'm glad that the filler stuff is over, and we got to like these last 3 episodes of real meat and potatoes. And I'm really just happy just how quickly it moved along, because none of us expected Thrawn to appear so quickly or Ezra to appear so quickly, and they're just like bang bang bang, here's everybody, we'll keep it rolling. So which is good. I really thought they'd take a slower route. We pretty much still called it that they'd make it back to the galaxy at the end and just leave it totally open, which we'll discuss later. But the episode moved pretty quickly, and I've said it from the very beginning, and I tell you the reason I called it spoiler for Shadow Warrior is because, as I said in our very first podcast about Ahsoka, what's keeping my attention is Balin and his mystery. I'm not watching this for another season of Rebels. I'm watching it for one, it's Star Wars, so of course I'll watch it. But just the mystery of Balin is what got me. So when he wasn't in episode 6, I clocked out. But when he's back here and just the things that he says and his mystery and his info dump and Thrawn knows who he is, it's all just fantastic. So Balin's goal was just amazing. Back into this, and we'll touch on some other things after.
General Balin Skull from the Clone Wars.
Was he a general? I mean, I guess they're all
he
generals.
Said general.
Yeah.
He called him General Balin Skull.
Yeah, I guess they were all generals. So even the kids.
Like, how's he know him and he doesn't know Ahsoka? But I guess I don't know.
Yeah, he was around her in Order 60. He was around her in Order 66. So if he knows who Anakin is, I'm sure Balin knows who Ahsoka is. I mean, he definitely knew who he was, who she was. So, but other than that, I think this was a great episode. And after Ron touches on his stuff, I'll just bring us some other things.
Okay, Ron,
yeah, so
go for it.
Yeah. I clearly enjoyed it and enjoyed what was added. I don't know that I'm gonna have much, like Ryan, have much to add to what others have gone through. To jump into the discussion, the Thrawn fitness, maybe, because didn't he have to? Somebody said he could walk around the ship or whatever, but he was fighting droids. Maybe he ran out of power, or power was a thing, and or age just catches up with you. It was off-putting though, not off-putting, but it was just a. Oh, you were expecting to see the slim svelte cut Thrawn, and when he turned to the side, that profile wasn't there.
Does it make him seem like he's less threatening?
Yeah.
Yes.
What? Jabba the Hutt's quite threatening, and he's massive.
No, he's not. He's threatening because he pays other people to be threatening.
Yeah, he's got the
That's
money.
it.
And I've heard that
he's using the Gamorrean guard workout. Okay.
Thrawn's not the big bad, and Thrawn's not the Thanos type of big bad. He doesn't have any power. He's not a Force user. He's not a big brute. He doesn't have the 5 stone. That's not going to be the kind of big bad he's going to end up being. And so it's a challenge to run. Yeah, he's going to be like a Jabba, where Jabba, in a room by himself, I'm pretty sure a slim, svelte, bikini-clad female could take him, type of thing. He's not threatening by himself, but like Ryan said, that he's got the power, he's got connections, he's got what's necessary that makes him an evil threat. The Ezra reunion, the only way I'm kind of squaring that, because it was a little bit of I think there'd been a lot. did they see it in the Force? Did Ezra see it in the Force? Not that she would have, but it wasn't any great surprise. He knew it would be. He knew it was somewhere in his future. Just didn't, it was, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's a bit of a stretch. But it was, it was inevitable to say it was a bit anticlimactic. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure, there was no grand surprise that it was going to happen. So anyone that kind of had a anticlimactic bent, I didn't quite understand because it was a tell from the very beginning of the episode. And I love the little naughties. I don't think as a staunch fan of my college, they're not turtles. They're just not. They're hermit crabs, or they're crab type of things. Like you say, they stand up. I think of them more as crab than I think of them turtle. But yeah, I like that design. It was cool to see a different species, if you will, and the way they interacted. They're definitely the Jawas, the Ewoks of. So kind of saw that as soon as there was going to be a fight. It's like, well, okay, they're going to be the locals that help out our heroes, and that kind of turns out to be the truth. But yeah, on with the discussion. I enjoyed this episode. Didn't have any problems.
So just to bring up something else, I tried to rewatch all 3 episodes this morning. I could only make 2 of them, and I caught something about this episode is that Morgan says first of all, Thrawn's introduction was really good. The music, the people chanting, and I'm definitely having discussions with my wife since she's not.
Yeah,
she never watched all the stuff. Yeah, they're like Thrawn. So it's really cool. It was excellent seeing him, and then see a bag of chicken walk onto the screen was weird. But I noticed the way that conversation dump right there had a lot of information. Like Thrawn says he has an agreement with the Great Mothers, which he obviously woke them up, which is revealed later. And we don't know what the agreement is. But then Morgan says, I have seen the catacombs. It will take you 3 days to unload them. But it's like, how did you see them? Was it a Force vision? Was it something else? I just thought that was a very interesting choice of words. Instead of the witches saying it, Morgan says it from another galaxy. I have seen the catacombs. It'll take 3 days for you to unload them. And then Thrawn's like, that's acceptable. So I'm just kind of wondering, how did she see it?
Right, they had been together the whole time. She didn't really have a chance to see him, right? There was no opportunity where they separated off or anything like that. That was a bit of an odd thing, but right, whether she Force or Night Mother magic sees it or did see it on the way in via the feed of what kind of.
Yeah, I just thought that was an interesting choice, because you don't see her like meditating and talking to the witches. She just says, well, I've dreamed of Thrawn talking to me, which is probably through the witches. But I just thought it was a really interesting choice of words. So we gotta ask, what's in the catacombs? What are those?
Which catacombs is she talking about then?
I think it's the underneath the tower they're on. But that whole thing.
Yeah, because remember they land on Peridia.
She's seen those catacombs, because the way you're saying it. She says she's seen them, that it's going to take them 3 days to unload or to load. Because they were loading. To unload, I thought maybe she's talking about the catacombs back wherever they're going.
No, because remember they're taking those boxes out of the catacombs and putting them into the Chimera. So whatever those, that's the other thing. We have no idea. Obviously,
why would you say unload though?
Yeah, because you're taking them out of the catacomb. You're unloading them from the catacombs.
They're loading them from the catacombs.
They're loading
them, not unloading them from the catacombs.
Well, maybe
catacombs. Back.
She might have said to move them.
Yeah, that I didn't really catch that. So.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I mean, it might have just happened off screen. A lot of things happen off screen,
Well, I was more looking at that. She said that she's seen the catacombs. Like they literally land the ship and get off, and then she's like, "Well, I've seen the catacombs, and this is what's going on." It's like, oh, okay. Well, when did you see them? How did you see them? And you got to wonder what was from the catacombs. I mean, a catacombs is just like a big maze. Maybe are they all dead Night Sisters? Or we're about to have another Night Sister?
I was gonna say that too. Maybe they're just like bodies, and they're gonna resurrect them like they did on Clone Wars. For
that
Army.
Seems to be the consensus that's what they are. That seems to be whatever. Like the guesses I've heard of what's in those boxes is that they're dead Night Sisters, so they're gonna repopulate Dathomir basically with.
So they also just might end up being cannon fodder, because anytime you have a big movie,
Oh no, yeah, that's absolutely
you have the
what
big,
they're going to be.
you have the big boss, and then you have a bunch of overpowered
Mhm.
people that just have to get through. So
Yeah, it's going to be like
Yeah,
what is
they
it,
do
Return of the King, right?
They are wearing
Yeah.
red, so they can't light sisters, so they could be cannon fodder stuff. Yes.
well, we don't see what's in the thing either.
No.
In the
No.
caskets or boxes. It could be apples and bananas. And Thrawn's just like, man, I freaking love these. Let's take these back.
Yeah, that's just what he's eating. That's what
A
he's
bunch of
putting the house
Meluron.
on for. Yeah. A young lip gloss, that kind of stuff.
He's
Yeah.
a cheese connoisseur. So
Yeah.
but yeah, and then
It's his Harry and David's order for Life Day.
I mean,
Yeah.
it is Thrawn. It could be art and like artifacts.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
It's not a turtle art.
Yeah, it's naughty pottery.
yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's in kind of, I just picture it like Avengers Infinity War, where Thanos has this army of black, crazy alien creatures that are just clawing everybody up.
Yeah.
But they have to get through them to get to Thanos. Excuse me, I think it's a Thrawn. I meant Thanos. But it was like, you have to get through them. So you got to have cannon fodder, and it can't just be soldiers all the time. So whether it's robots from Clone Wars, so that's really interesting. And then also Balin said, he admitted that, and I know we discussed this, that he was around during Order 66 and he watched it all burn down, and he told Shin, I was about your age. So I don't think we know how old Shin is, but again, more Balin information dump is always a great thing to me, because furthering the story with mystery is what I'm here for, and it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Very
talked
good.
about the cycle repeating. He's like, they first it's Sith and Jedi, then back and forth, back and forth. He's like, this just needs to end.
You just talk about wars, like rising and falling and stuff like that. So it's, and I guess we'll discuss it more at the end when it's revealed.
Okay, well, yes, I'm sure we'll get to that, because I've seen some suggestions online about what's going on there. People who remember stuff. I can't keep a minute. Need to rewatch the Mortis Clone Wars episode. Although we've got a long wait to season 2 anyway, so I've got plenty of time to watch it. Okay, should we go on?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, next while we're here. Okay, so the week after that was part 7, called Dreams and Madness. Actually, speaking of information dump, we never mentioned Huang's stories. It started, so talking off to Ahsoka at the last one.
That was so good.
That was quite good.
Wait,
yeah.
that was a long time ago. Was this episode?
Yeah.
The previous one, Far, Far Away, yeah.
Totally forgot that. I enjoyed it. I smiled a big old smile. That was I enjoyed that they found a way to work that in, if you will, so to speak. I thought it was quite cool. I enjoyed the heck out of that.
Yeah. So that's a big up for his stories. We never actually heard too much of them, but okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get back to that. So part 7, Dreams and Madness. So we start this one out off on Coruscant. Syndulla, or Hera, as more fondly known, faces a disciplinary hearing with tribunal member Senator, what's he called?
Hamato Ziono.
Thank you very much. Objecting to her reports of a secret Imperial remnant conspiracy. C-3PO arrives and provides the tribunal with a fake authorization by Senator Leia Organa, forcing the court to absolve Syndulla and Mothma to consider the threat of an Imperial resurgence. Arriving at, for goodness sake, I can never remember things. I think 5 minutes ago. Arriving at
Peridia.
That's it. Are you reading this too? The Pura girls run into a minefield left by Thrawn's forces and retreat. Continuing alone, Ahsoka and Huang are attacked by enemy fighters and hide in the debris field. Elspeth informs Thrawn that Ahsoka was trained by Anakin, compelling the Grand Admiral to adopt a more calculated approach. Ahsoka locates Ren through the Force and heads to the planet's surface. Bridger, Ren, and the Notchi are attacked by Shin, the local bandits, and Thrawn's night troopers, while Skull leaves to pursue his own agenda. And then he comes back anyway. So Ahsoka, in defension, forces Thrawn to withdraw his remaining light troopers and prepare his imminent departure. Ahsoka invites Shin, who has been left behind, to join them, but she instead runs away. Ahsoka, Bridger, and Ren then joyously reconnect. the end of that episode. So we're having a little free for all on this one. Then we'll go back to a rounded order for the finale. So who wants to bump in first?
I thought it was good. I like when he's like, "No, you take lightsaber. No, you take it. I don't need it. You take it."
Yes, this is the one with mime impressions. Yes, force mimes. Yes, that's kind of cool.
I liked that whole battle sequence. It was cool.
That kind of bothered me, to be honest with you. The him like just like playing hot potato with the lightsaber. Like I get it, he gave it to her, but she's like telling him like, here, like you're the experienced one, like just use it. And he should have been like, yes, okay, give it to me. I'll give it right.
Well, no, he knew she needed it. She would have died. She needed a weapon. She couldn't use the force.
Yeah, but he's the Jedi. He could have handled it a lot better than she did, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean? So. And then the whole his reaction to it was kind of silly in the moment. Like, no, like don't give it to me. No, that's ridiculous. It's like, okay, here, give it to me. And I'll handle this right now, and then I'll give it back to you later. That just seemed very like overly silly and for no real good reason. As we'll see in the next episode when he like immediately makes a new lightsaber. You know what I mean? That just didn't make any sense to me. Why?
I think he was just trying to protect her, and it's Ezra, so he's. I mean, even when she tells him like, "Oh, Ahsoka took me on as her apprentice," he's like, "Why?"
Exactly. Why is she not?
Exactly. That was my question too.
So
Why?
he's going into this battle thinking like she's gonna need all the help she can get. Here, take the lightsaber. I don't need it. I've been surviving here for however many years.
She didn't have her guns that she always has.
She did.
Yeah,
but
she did her guns.
better.
Well, then there you go. So he has the lightsaber. She's got the guns. It's like but in this way, he's got his hands and she's got guns and lightsabers. That doesn't make any sense to me. So that I don't know. That bothered me. That was kind of.
He's being like a purist Jedi where you don't need anything.
Okay.
There's no attachments. There's no.
He definitely could have defended better than her. I agree with you on that point. He definitely could have defended things, and she could have just shot him and used her electric rope type of thing. So.
Yeah,
that was kind of the thing.
That one, yeah.
To say he was overly being silly about it, he was being a bit Ezra about it. Yeah. I think he's showing off for her. He's never really he's never really experienced the Jedi trick of I'll defend while you shoot. We've seen that as a thing, so we're kind of projecting he should know that as well. But he was like, it's your lightsaber, and that she needed it a little bit more than he did. Yeah. He wanted to show off his force powers without one, right up until the kind of didn't work too well, and he was like, yeah, okay, let me get a blaster or whatever it was that he did.
And I gotta say that it's becoming kind of repetitive, but every time I see it, I love it. But Ezra now catches the lightsaber too, so props out to Rise of Skywalker for that, because everybody uses it now to show how strong they are in the Force. Because I love when Ezra just catches Shin's lightsaber, with the Force. I was like, okay, that anytime I see that, it means that person's pretty cool. So Ezra's definitely another
Force user, so it's cool.
Oh yeah, grab, pretty much catch it in the air. So it's cool that they threw that in there.
I thought she was gonna stay there, but she took off, right? She ran off.
Yeah, when they beat all the little marauders, they're like, "Let's go 3-on-1," and it cuts away and it cuts back, and she's just hoofing it into the desert, like running away. So, but Ezra was funny. I mean, this character's really growing on me, and actually by the end of the series, he's probably my second favorite behind Balin of the whole series, just because he seems really good. I mean, he just needs to shave that weird beard, but I mean, because he's it's a good looking actor. The beard just looks
extra
terrible.
Touch with like the scars on his cheek,
Oh yeah, they kept that in. Yeah. They kept that in, so that was good.
No, he's definitely that was good casting. He's really good. I think all the for the most part, I think all the casting's been pretty good. Like I know, like
except
Sabine, except Thrawn, it's like, and he's okay. He's like fine. He's not, it was just kind of a nitpick. You know what I mean? But no, they're all good. But yeah, Ezra for sure. With each episode, he gets better, and he's really nailing the animated character. So.
And this is skipping ahead a second, but I think he's also very fluent with the lightsaber, because while this series has had good lightsaber battles, personally for me, they've always felt too practiced. And it really sticks out with Rosario, unfortunately. She just feels like she's moving two positions, like zoop, 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 like just moving there. When we seen Anakin, I was like, okay, this is what we're missing, is Hayden Christensen is just freaking amazing at it. But then seeing Ezra the next episode start using his new saber, it was like, okay, he feels pretty fluent too. But then like the battle with Balin just was like, oh man, just Ahsoka's really
You
is
gotta figure
Rosario.
you're comparing
Her
like
movements are
two
not smooth.
humans to somebody in a full prosthetic headpiece. So I mean, I think that
It's
kind
just
of.
a head. No, you can move your arms in a headpiece. I'm sorry,
But
man.
you gotta
Like,
be mindful
can,
how your head,
you
because you
can
don't want
raise
to
your
fall
arms.
off, and it's a different weight on you. So I think that kind of, I kind of chalk
I
it up to that.
I think that definitely might play into it, but I
It's,
also
I
have
mean,
felt that
it's
they
fun.
should have had a stunt person do her
Rosario's.
fighting when it's not a close up on her face or something. You should have somebody else doing the battles, because I kind of also felt, that's been her, like, Rosario's great as Ahsoka. I like her as a character, but I think when it comes to the fighting, that's where it dips down a little bit for me. Like, I think they kind of should have put a stunt person in there to do the battling.
Well, and I think we're just used to seeing Ahsoka leap around and fly in the air, and like on the
No,
cartoons.
it's not that, because then when I seen Hayden in
Yeah.
real life do it, he's just great, and Ewan McGregor's great.
Yeah.
And like
But
I
they're
said,
on
the
live
Ezra
action
Bridger-
first. You saw them live action
Yeah.
before you saw them in animation. Ezra
Well,
might be a
and
little
like I
different, but I don't know.
Amon, and then Amon, Ezra actors, Amon Asfandi, like I said, he did good too. So that's just more my proof where it's like, okay, well maybe it's just how they are. And then I see Amon use the lightsaber, Ezra, and I was like, okay, he's really good too. So this just makes Rosario's practice, she's just doing samurai stances, and then just moving her hands like, I'll go to spot 1, spot 2. There's no fluidity in it. It's
Well,
just
she was
like
just training with those hollow vids a minute ago. So
she's one of the most decorated fighters in the Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Like,
she should
tell
definitely
me
be a little better than she is. And I know a lot of it has to do with I think the fact that she keeps getting sort of beaten, or she's not easily beating anybody, is just for story purposes. But yeah. But no,
I wonder if they're trying to make her slower, like age-wise, because she's supposed to be older. Basically almost the same age as like Obi-Wan and A New Hope. Kind of. I don't know if she's supposed to be that old, but
But I don't want to make it wasn't that big of a thing. I don't want to nitpick on it forever. It's just I want to say Amon
No, it's not.
Ezra did good, so I'm glad to see.
It's just the physicality of the actors,
Yeah.
No,
it is.
I agree with you, Ryan. It's just that's the one part that kind of stands out, is that she doesn't. And I'm talking Rosario because I'm assuming it's not Ahsoka. I'm just assuming that it's Rosario that's not as good or as gifted.
I mean, to be fair,
in that area.
it's probably hard to move around with that giant headpiece on your head. So
that could definitely come into it, but
that definitely plays into it because that's probably
I mean,
heavy.
it hangs over the front of it. That doesn't stop your arms from moving and spinning in a circle. Like, the thing's made of foam. I'm sure it has some weight to it. But it hangs 1 tendril over her back and 2 over her chest. It's not like when Anakin literally wore armor over his shoulders type of thing. And he did
Yeah,
fine.
but it's not glued to her head, so if she shifts a certain way and tilts her head too much while she's using her arms, then it could fall off.
Yeah, it could. It really could.
Next story. Minutia about the show. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a practical thing.
She needs a chin strap for that thing.
Hard
If
to
you've
hard
ever
to-
been in a costume, in a Star Wars costume, you know it's hard to move around without it falling off.
Yeah. Tell me you've
Yeah.
never done an elaborate cosplay without telling me you've never done one.
I have
well,
not
that- my
done
cosplay is
one,
like a
especially not
$10,000
with anything on my head like that. Like
Well, when a lot of people block saber blast, they swing their saber, and she's just like spot 1, spot 2, spot 3, spot 4. Turn my wrist, instead of being like fluid, moving it around type of thing, which is what Ezra does exactly. So it's
definitely.
I'm not going to drag that. I'm not
Possible, Ryan. That's the reason. Maybe it's not even Rosario. Maybe it really is. It's just the headpiece that gets in the way. I don't know. Yeah.
So I hope she gets I've seen it, and I had the same complaints during when she was in Mandalorian doing the same thing. So it's definitely just I hope she gets better and more fluid at it. Is my own thing. Like I said, I'm not going to nitpick it forever. We'll move on to other stuff. It's just I like that Ezra caught it in the air type of thing because I liked his using his hands to fight people type of thing because I've seen people talk about it where even Jedi don't want to use sabers, and the High Republic has someone similar to that where they mainly use a shield and they don't even pull their saber out because they refuse and killing anybody. So they literally have a big shield. And so it's interesting to be like, no, I don't want to use the saber. Even like you said, he just builds a saber next episode anyway. But
Well, they're going to war.
yeah, it was cool to see the battles. We get to see Ahsoka jump off a moving ship. Hu Yang is always funny where he's like, I hope I survive long enough to see it. And then it holds the camera for like 2 seconds. And you're like, well, is he about to die? What is going on here? So just a very interesting kind of
she's
line.
like, open the wrap. He's like, no, we're not doing this again. She's like, well, fix your timing this time. Which we do see like a Ahsoka that's more jokey and more like jovial and not crossing her arms and stoic.
Yeah.
So, there was a change when she did go and meet Anakin and do that whole thing. So it's clear
sure.
from like these next two, all these following episodes. So it wasn't
She's Ahsoka the White now.
Oh, I did like the little cars that the turtles were in, right? They turn into like shields.
Yeah, why aren't they rushing back to Thrawn? Like, hey, we gotta go. This is our only chance off this planet. Let's just follow these Let's follow these nodes around. Let's make sure. I'm like, dude, go grab Ezra, get your howler, or just start hoofing it, man. Like, what are you guys standing around?
That's the next episode because I have a bit of that niggle as well. That's a bit of this episode. This was the episode where they circled the wagons. I kind of appreciated the old homage to the old Western things of wait, we can't leave them, circle up. So they circle the wagons in defense of the attackers. Kind of appreciate that little method of protecting themselves. I thought that was clever. Just a neat thing that you don't see very often. But yeah, I forget. Just the slowness of it. Yeah, the catacomb, and again, that's the next episode, so I'm going to save it as well, Ryan, for the slowness of both sides.
And we did get to see Howler a little bit in here. He was in one of the Noti vehicles as well at one point. Howler
they had the Howler trapped in.
Missed that. I thought, no, this isn't the only bit more we see, but we do see him again. That's not quite the same interaction, because what we're all forgetting about here was C-3PO at the start of the episode.
Well, that was so good.
Oh, that's right. That was good.
And trying to get his ID, which made me think how many
my daughter got so excited.
Yeah.
She was just clapping while watching. She's like, "Yay, it's C-3PO!" She was like clapping her hands watching it and like wouldn't stop at each other. Like, I'm trying to listen to what they're saying.
There are already people online. They're always asking, why don't they just do a deep fake of Leia?
No, don't do that.
No.
Please don't do that.
3PO had like your daughter. I wasn't clapping, but I had a big old smile because it was a pleasant. Yeah. It was a wonderful surprise. that was kept on the down low, or otherwise just wasn't spoiled, thankfully. So to see him walk in and save her and have a message from Leia, I had the biggest.
It makes you 7 years old again seeing him.
Yeah. Exactly. That's where it was. It was just it was a thrill to see him and have him a part of it, and to savor bacon, if you will, the way it was done with Leia's comment, and even Mon. I'm a huge Mon fan that even loved her portrayal. I think she needs to be a little bit older at this point where she is, or whatever. But then this is settled unless you have any other questions, Yahoo, Ziono, whatever, Senator Ziono, whatever his title is. But then she gets all Mon serious. I mean, legit Mon serious, pulls her aside and is like, I don't know what game you're playing, but she didn't authorize that. What's going on? That was
she's like she did now.
Yeah, just a great portrayal of that character as to how she still has to play both sides, or is still aware of things and trying to keep it. Yeah, that was a great. Thanks for bringing that up, Stephen. That was a very brief scene, but a very, very impactful and powerful.
And then they bring up what's his name? Brings up the what about the Mandalore battle that we had? He's like, oh, that was Gideon. Just one
that, yeah.
So that confirms the timeline for sure, because people were asking. But yeah, it's like, and he rolls it off, and I was literally shouting at the screen to just punch Ziono in the face because
he's like, we can't listen to a mirror droid, and then Chopper gets all mad.
Yeah, like this guy, and with real world, that's the thing, it's real world politics on TV, and it's just making me so angry that it's like you have all this evidence, and you're just like, that didn't happen, and they're like, dude, what do you mean Purgle have existed for thousands of years, and you act like Purgle aren't real, and that the Jedi don't exist? Like, dude, you were 5 years away from Return of the Jedi. I hate Ziono with a passion, and the fact that he doesn't die in Resistance, as revealed by, Resistance revealed by, makes me even more angry because I want to watch him catch on fire and burn for like 30 seconds and suffer because
you want the main character of Resistance to see his dad die. Is that what I just?
Well, that kind of happened on the show. Like he thought they were dead, and then he finds out that they survived. So, when they blew up the planet.
This guy is literally ruining the galaxy with his refusal to believe any truth, with his pushing of conspiracy theories. Like, I freaking hate Ziono, and he has the seat of power on and I get it. Mon Mothma wants to push a democracy, and people got to vote. Well, you have this idiot.
She almost seems like she has no say. Like,
I'm reading the blood.
They needed a Jedi or somebody there just to force choke him, just like happened in A New Hope when that's your sorcerer's ways, and then
is this real? Is this real? You're just choking him through the TV, huh? So
that's why his son left.
And we know Hera
is your lack of faith disturbing.
Like, the dude doesn't believe in Purgle, and there are records of Purgle attacking stations of gas.
They literally had footage of Balin and Hadi like killing everybody on that ship, and he's like, dark or false Jedi, real Jedi. Like, you literally just saw people just get killed. Like, he's working for somebody. He's got it.
And it's never revealed, because he's still around in Resistance. So I just wanted my rant that I freaking hate Ziono, and he literally raises my blood pressure because of his stupidity to another level.
That guy does play that role really well.
This isn't
he really does.
You can no longer say people can't be that dumb, because I see it every day that people are that stupid, and I want to wring their necks. It's just like, you're ruining everything because of your stupidity. And it's just, Mon Mothma is trying so hard to keep the galaxy together, and I love her character with a passion.
But this was the same episode where Hera put him in his place, though, right? Like,
she did, and I just love that. I was really I really don't care much for Hera, but to see it in live action where she's just like, nah, you suck, and everyone's like, ooh.
No, he's like, so like, you're protecting the galaxy by ignoring the orders of the New Republic. No, I'm protected by ignoring you.
Yeah, like, it's a strong character moment for Hera that she stands up against just stupidity like that. That's just, I wish Mon Mothma would just stand up and backhand him and be like, go back to Hosnia.
Yeah, they did make her seem a little spineless in this episode. I was kind of like hoping she had be more authoritative, like more commanding. She's kind of like, my hands are tied. I can't do anything about it. Like, yes, you can. You're the chancellor. Like,
they just got out of a 20-year dictatorship where one person had all the power. So she's probably much more like, listen, we're going to listen to everyone's voice, no matter how stupid it is. We'll vote. But me as chancellor, I'll just try to talk. And because I'm reading the Bloodline book, and it talks about Mon Mothma in the past of how good of a chancellor she was. And she was just able to bring people together and listen to everybody.
Yeah, that book did the same thing too, where Leia would bring stuff up and they're like, oh, you're crazy. There's nothing going on, Yeah, so, it's strange.
Well, that's why everything ended up the way it did,
Yes.
Like,
because of people like Ziono.
Good guys, bad guys, made up words.
And I think DJ still had a good point there. I mean, like you said, it is military companies supplying weapons to both sides.
Which we saw that on the other episode with those ships and everything. So
not only that, but just to touch on some of the other series, I think like Andor and stuff. It's just that when you're rebuilding the galaxy and you're mixing, the Empire with the New Republic, you're like, oh, we forgive them. They're good now. They're working with us. You see, that's not always the case. So there's always going to be, people working against. Everybody's not on the same page. especially
Yeah.
when you bring in
Yeah.
you bring in the bad guys, that are quote unquote reformed, which we know a lot of them aren't. You know what I mean? So there's always going to be, and like Ziono, going back to before the New Republic, he may not have been necessarily on the Empire side, but it's like, who knows where he was back during the Clone Wars? I don't know if he was a kid. Maybe his father was separatist, or what side was he on? So a lot of that stuff plays in too, just past history, which
He was
puts them
definitely
where they are now.
alive. He was alive during the reign of Palpatine for sure. So he had
Yeah.
to see all these evils, and I'm
But
glad that
somehow they
Hera
had
called
money,
them out.
so they were like from
But
a
he
like
might
a
have been
pretty good
benefiting
yeah.
from it somehow, So he wasn't necessarily Empire, but he was Empire. What do you call it? Sympathetic, or he
Yeah.
just kind of they look the other way.
He played his
Yeah,
part
'cause he
in the
got rich.
machine to benefit from
Yeah.
it.
For sure.
It gave him
So,
power, it gave him money, and he's just like, whatever, it's fine. And
yeah.
he has Ziono has no stance on anything. It seems like so far his only thing is to disagree with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
that's what I hate. It's like you don't even have a stance. You're just ruining it.
Isn't there that one? No, sorry, this is in the UK. I was going to have a go at US politics, but it's actually in the UK. There is this chap in the House of Lords, and all he ever does is object to every motion that is passed. And I can't remember his reason for. He's got excuse. I have to Google it while we're talking. His excuse for always objecting is that if everything was just motion through, there would be no debating. And he likes, as a point of principle, the fact that he's there, he likes to object, and that means that things can be debated even more. So initially, everything that comes through, no matter not whether he agrees with it or not, he always puts his hand up, and the poor
which is
thing,
dumb.
motion has to go back through even more rigorous debating and stuff.
He's a speed
Yeah.
bump in the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If people agree that something is a good thing, then let it happen. It's not like it's if he's the one dissenting voice, it's like, dude, we all agree, okay? This isn't a 50-50 split. So
Going back to 3PO, it was Anthony Daniels playing him, right?
Yes, well, I believe so.
Voice wise, it was. Do you think he still gets the suit?
I think so.
it looked like it looked like a little bit thicker design because Anthony Daniels is still pretty skinny. So
Yeah.
I mean, well,
I just feel like at this point, I mean, voice him, but you don't need to get in the suit anymore, do you? After like almost 50 years, it's like, let somebody else do it. You just do the voice. I don't know. I mean, unless he likes getting in there, but it just seems like at this point.
Something that it was, or something from him that it was him.
Yeah,
but it
was
definitely did. It was so short or such a small scene. It was a bit thicker or wider, like at the neck, you could see it, and then it also felt like he was looking up a little bit. It was whether it's him or not, it was his voice, and yeah, I appreciate that he's still holding on to
3PO's on
like that.
the Thrawn diet.
Well, according to everything I'm looking online right now, it does show that it actually was him. So
okay,
like physically him, because for the voice, I think for sure the voice was him for sure. But
let me see here.
I know.
Yeah, he was looking up quite a bit. So
I'm sure there's somewhere that says that more or less says it was him, but yeah, I was looking around at the time. It's confirmed somewhere, didn't he? Did he tweet it or something? Or
he does say there we were enveloped by the utterly compelling effects of the volume. So it was him. He was in there.
All right.
Yeah, he tweeted about it, about being on there. So.
Well,
wait a minute, did you just call what did he call the effects of the volume?
Utterly compelling.
Utterly compelling. I thought you said call them ugly. I was going to say I was in my camp at last. Okay, fair enough. This was also the episode where you've rewatched it again, Ryan, and probably more than I have. I got a bit confused because Balin says to Shin, that's it, you're off, you're on your own now, and I'm off now. And then, like 5 minutes later, he sort of bumps into Ahsoka, and then sort of gets drawn back into it again. And then he's off.
Ahsoka bumps into.
So didn't he not get very far between that I'm off now and Ahsoka sort of appearing and stuff? It seemed like there was a long time between that.
Yeah, he was definitely watching. It's like, are you gonna go? That's the other thing. No one's going anywhere. So, all right, I'm off. And then he just sits there on top of the hill until, until Ahsoka comes plummeting from the sky and falls in front of him, and he's just hey, this
Yeah,
is
that's what
quite
I
a
don't
surprise.
understand. That's what I don't understand, because he says, like, this is nothing to do with me now. You're on your own. This is your battle. I've got something else to do. And then literally 5 minutes later, he gets back involved in it again.
And Thrawn was not happy about that.
Sorry?
And Thrawn was not happy about that, because he's like, this is to be expected without General Balin Skull there. So it's Thrawn, while he's still making a lot of mistakes, and we'll talk about it more in the last episode.
These are necessary losses.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you say when you lose. Yeah, he's losing, and he's like, that was necessary to lose. It's like, dude, you're losing. Every plan you make, you're being over. I won't underestimate the Jedi. I've underestimated the Jedi. It's like, come on, Thrawn. Like, you got to do better. Balin left. He's abandoned him. They're now got 3 Jedi because people just become Jedi now. So it's like you got 3 Jedi instead of 1.
We haven't got to that yet. We haven't got to that yet.
Yeah, we should then. We should get to it.
We should get to it. I mean,
I don't know that he was with him to abandon him. He always had his own agenda.
But nobody knew.
Well, I know, but Thrawn, in that, I don't even think Thrawn was expecting him to be showing up, or Morgan said, well, no, I did have to hire mercenaries. I got him coming. But I don't know that he abandoned Thrawn so much as all right, I did my job. I'm off to do what I need to do.
Yeah. He got the ship there, and I thought it was funny. I think it was in the previous episode, or this one, where Thrawn tells Shin and Balin, he's like, you may go and attack them and kill them at your own leisure. And if you look at the background, Balin almost like rolls his eyes, because we know that he has another plan. It's like, oh yeah, I'll get right on that. And then he turns to Shin, and he's just like, yo, you want power, you want control, I got other stuff to do. Because remember, he says, as Ricky pointed out, the power that Thrawn is just repeatable. Someone gets strong, they get defeated. So yeah, it's fleeting, like a fleeting moment. And he's going for something bigger, which leads us to episode 8. The probably greatest titled episode of any series I've ever witnessed in my life. So let's go ahead and just jump into episode 8.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I have a question. I can't think of any other episode titles at the moment, but this would definitely be right up there. This was episode 8, part 8, The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. So, to confront the Jedi, Elsbeth is gifted Mother Talzin's sword, the Sword of Talzin, by the Great Mothers, while Bridger constructs his own new lightsaber using Lego from his late master, Kanan Jarrus. After the ship is damaged by a fighter attack, Ahsoka, Ren, and Bridger make their way on foot to the Star Destroyer, which has docked with the Eye of Sion. They are confronted by Elsbeth and the Night Troopers, whom the Great Mothers keep resurrecting after they are killed. Actually, we don't actually know it for sure, but
yeah, they were. They had those ribbons around them.
Yeah,
only
Ren uses. Yeah, well, it resurrects them twice, but that's not exactly it all the time. Anyhow, Ren uses the Force. I'll get to that bit to help Bridger jump onto the Star Destroyer. Then she stays behind to help Ahsoka, who kills Elsbeth. The Eye of Sion jumps to hyperspace, leaving Ahsoka, Ren, and Huyang stranded on that planet. As Thrawn and the Great Mothers arrive over Dathomir, Bridger escapes and is reunited with Syndulla and Chopper. Ahsoka, Ren, and Huyang join the Notchi and make their new home on that planet, watched over by Anakin's spirit. Oh, well, I don't remember that far. So Shin joins with the bandits, while Skull is guided to a mountain by a statue of the Mortis gods. Grr, can't really fit much more in there. Not as much as episode 6, my favourite. But
you don't remember Anakin's spirit being there.
Well, do you want to go straight with that one, do we?
No, you said that you didn't remember, and I'm gonna ruin your quiz question because there's stuff I want to point out.
No. What was the quiz? No, you can't. You can't.
What about the sword?
No, can't mention that. No, can't say that. We'll get to the.
Talk about it after the question.
At the end, okay. You just have to insert somebody else who it wasn't into.
Well, I'm not gonna say who they were fighting, but it was in the Clone Wars. It was in that Jar Jar arc. Was awesome.
Yes.
So something that was kind of comical is that Morgan turns Super Saiyan. She levels up, and then Thrawn is just like, "Oh, thanks for discovering me. I'm gonna leave you on this planet now. Go stop the Jedi." And then she lets 2 Jedi by without doing anything. So she just faces Ahsoka, and Sabine and Ezra just walk around like, yo, we good? Okay, we're going after Thrawn. I can't imagine Thrawn's face, where he's just like, as they just waltz into his ship, into the tower, where it's just like, okay, we're cool.
Yeah, he
It's
totally
like, you had one
just
task.
ditched her.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
assuming
But-
that she knew that the Star Destroyer was well clear at that point, but I don't know. Yeah, it was a little bit odd.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. You were sent there for one task, and you're only going after Ahsoka, and these other two are just walking around you. And Ezra's powerful. He's proved it. Thrawn hates Ezra to some degree, which that's the other thing. We really don't know if Thrawn and Ezra are really still enemies, because I'm still
I've still got my theory. Yeah, I still reckon they were ex-lovers. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe not love, but
Why don't you just shut the door behind her? Sorry, go on.
Why the limitation on sending only the volunteers or sending him so many troops? Why does he think he needs to be saving troopers? What does Thrawn know before of the Empire, of the situation back home, if he gets home, that he's saving troops in case something that he like you said, he wants to do everything he can to escape. I just met you, stay and protect and keep them here, whatever. Why not throw anything and everything he can as an obstacle in their way so that they don't get on the ship? I didn't quite understand that aspect of not using the troops, only 2 TIE fighters to go after him. Why does he think he needs to be saving resources? But then he doesn't know what he's going home to necessarily either.
Maybe he does. The Night Sisters might have. I mean, they knew Morgan was there. They've been communicating with her, so maybe they can see into the other galaxy and the state of everything.
Well, I'm sure on the trip to Peridia, wouldn't Morgan have filled him in? Hey, so
that's true.
Right on the trip. No, once she got there, not the trip
to there, but when she got there, I mean, and she saw him. Hey, so this is what's going on in the galaxy now,
Yeah.
But I don't think the sisters and Morgan is a two-way conversation. I think she hears them in her dreams, sees things in her dreams, but she's not then communicating back. Hey, the Empire's fallen. Make sure you tell Thrawn X, Y, and Z.
No. I'm saying she filled Thrawn in when she got there.
Right. Once she gets there, then she can he's all excited to do this and that and the other thing, and she's like, oh, let me tell you a story, because that's not going to be happening.
Yeah.
But that episode again, getting to the slowness, they're loading the ship with the last bit of cargo, and those stormtroopers couldn't be any with any lack of sense of urgency any more than they are in terms of trying to, they're trying to get out of that.
Right.
And then, we're flying with the naughty Ahsoka and all them are just hovering over top of their slow caravan, and they're trying to stop Thrawn. It's a bit of a, hey, we'll be right back. We've really got something we got to get. I know we need to protect you, but we also got to stop this thing. Yeah, there was a bit of a offness to those parts of the story beats. Just wait a minute. I thought both of you were excited to get the heck out of Dodge.
And if they would have left the naughty, the naughty would have never been attacked. So if they would have just been like, hoof it, just, hey, great hanging out with you guys. Tell my kid I love him, because I'm sure Ezra has kids with him or whatever, and just shoot off, So it's
they also have I think Ezra was protected by those Marauder guys too, so it's that's their thing, They caravan together. Yeah, the other guys that live in those villages.
Yeah, but he's gonna leave. He had to leave eventually.
He's their protector. And there are those sort of
and they were kind of protecting him too.
Yeah, there's other people lurking around, aren't there? So
yeah,
you need some sort of protection. But I know what you mean. Yeah, I didn't see it, but there were some of the stormtroopers loitering around, smoking and stuff, and looking on and stuff in the background, trying to be loading up.
I mean, it was interesting that Thrawn asked for volunteers. He's like, "Do these here's everyone that volunteered," because it shows it's weird for his character, first of all, to be like, "Hey, who wants to go?" But it also shows the relationship that he has with his, I guess, what's left of his army, because they were chanting his name, a couple episodes ago, and now it's like, who wants to volunteer to most likely die and be left behind at this planet as zombies? So I thought that it's definitely intriguing.
To me, that was why he was asking for volunteers, because it's like, okay, whoever volunteers for this, you're gonna die, and then you will be resurrected.
Yeah.
So why would he care?
What do you mean? Why would you care? You know, not everybody's like, nah. I don't want to be resurrected. You know, so that's why
well,
who's up for this task?
Like show your loyalty, basically.
It's
you know?
basically and it's a suicide mission.
He literally sent 2 TIE fighters before that, and they disappeared, and he's just like, acceptable losses. So he doesn't care who lives or dies. So why would he care if they turn into zombies too? You know, he's just
he probably wouldn't, but I mean,
he wants to go back with some stormtroopers, you know.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it was intriguing that
he knows he's going back to a galaxy that is no longer ruled by the Empire, and that his forces that he's returning to will be greatly diminished.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure whatever guys he still has there.
And they're like a cult now. That's why they're chanting his name,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say the relationship with his, I guess, team now is definitely intriguing, because it went from just being pawns to now chanting his name, and now he's asking for volunteers. So it's they definitely respect him, and it's even shown in the books that people follow him because of how great he is, when he gives recommendations and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. And we got to bring up
of him, and he has all that admiration, and that's the amount of people that volunteered. Isn't that a little telling that? Well, I was expecting. I'm being a little tongue in cheek here, but wouldn't Thrawn be? Oh, geez, that's it. 20.
I guess they need it more because
Ezra. They had that many troopers on that ship still, like.
Yeah, that's a big ship. Thousands. So I do like. How about Ezra's saber and just the little line where he's like, "Oh, the focus emitter's too narrow." That's just brilliant. It's like a callback to Rebels. It's that type of thing. It's like, okay, I'm glad I watched Rebels for those type of lines, and to see him build it.
They don't have the toothpick sabers anymore.
Yeah, because that really.
Some sort. I took that as a real world sort of nod that I think it's Obi-Wan's or somebody's. The hilts that we have, any practical ones anyway, it can never really look like they do them because you just can't make it that skinny and have the batteries work or the light part work or whatever. So yeah, that piece is always a little smaller than it is. I took it as a real world thing, but there's some sort of throwback or tie to something in Rebels.
Remember Rebels, the lightsabers were like super skinny. Like if you watch Rebels now, they're off-putting.
Very, very thin.
That was a huge complaint.
Yeah.
They're like toothpicks. Watching the Maul and Obi-Wan fight, they're like toothpicks.
Yeah,
I'm just like,
you're saying he was talking about how it was going to make the blade, because they were pencil thin, an odd look. In that. Okay, so that's what you're saying. He's going. Okay,
it's like an inside joke.
But then we gotta ask, where did the crystal come from? His crystals with Sabine. Where did he suddenly get? Is he just?
I'm sure.
Have a pile of crystals.
Has a drawer full of them.
It would have been nice to see him, because we know Ahsoka has either sabers or training sabers, or because remember she opens up her doors when she's training, and there's a whole bunch of sabers in there. It would have been nice to see Ezra connect with it, because that's the big story they're telling, even in the animated series, is that you have to connect with your crystal. And it's just like, it would have been nice for him to open it up, look at one.
But that wasn't the focus of the episode, though. It would have been cool to see, but it would have been like, the pacing.
You've never
of the show.
really seen that with anybody, though. Outside of the kids on Ilum in the arc of it. Outside of
they
that,
never do that in the movies.
No, you've never seen any other Jedi throughout any of the other movies or series do that.
Yeah, but it's being explained. I'm not caught up with the Star Wars one, but how Luke gets his new crystal for the green saber. All that is being explained. We know how.
But not
Luke
on screen.
Not on screen. Like it was explained. Like that was never a thing. I think when you found out about it was during the Clone Wars, when the little Jedi went to Ilum to go find their crystal. That's my kind of issue with it in a way, is that they made it like a big thing, the connecting, but also them having to find it, you know what I mean? But now it seems like just
there's no Ilum anymore, so
there's no Ilum anymore, so there technically should not be any new lightsabers, because again, the Empire destroyed the bulk of them, And
But if that's a ship that they would take the younglings on, then Hu Yang would have a supply there,
he would, yeah,
maybe.
no,
Or maybe they've
yeah,
over the years, him and Ahsoka, every time they find a lightsaber crystal,
yeah,
he picks it
for
up.
sure.
So I'm assuming he
but
just
it would
has
have been
that.
nice.
I didn't like that about Hu Yang's ship because I was like, it's okay. He's got the flying lightsaber factory. That's just kind of a little overly convenient, and it also takes away from it being special in any way. And I'm not just referring to the connection with the kyber crystal, but it's just like so easy now for anybody to get a lightsaber almost. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, new Jedi need a lightsaber. Hu Yang's got you covered. You know what I mean? It's like it takes away something from it for me. You know what I mean? It should be like I'd almost prefer that if a Jedi doesn't have a lightsaber, that it be a big deal for him to finally get one again, or like to be more Jedi for the time period anyway. To be like Ezra, that just has to learn to.
But
use
I
his
guess
hands.
they're not supposed to really like revere attachments and possessions.
No,
so
that's true. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. But they did kind of do a thing to Ryan's point about connecting with it, like when they discovered it, when they initially discovered their.
Well, those were all filler episodes. Remember, that's what everybody used to say.
That was definitely a filler. No. But, I don't know. It's a thing for me like that. I was like, okay. It's like, so it's like all he has to do is like, there's all Hu Yang's got drawers full of kyber crystals.
I mean, there might have been like one or two, maybe he had. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, but it would have been nice to see it, to expand on it, because they're building this lore with.
Wait, what color was the crystal?
Green.
Blue.
Blue. What color was Kanan's?
His old lightsaber was green. His new one was blue.
Was it Kanan's crystal? Maybe he still had.
I don't think so, because Kanan's lightsaber got lost right before he got lost.
I thought I seen something that Thrawn has it.
This
might have been.
Think so.
Again, this was just a comment that I saw.
I mean, Thrawn might have had it.
So I can't remember. I know how Kanan died, but I can't remember if he gave his saber to someone or if it just burned up on the planet when he blew up.
No, right before he blew up, he lost it. Like he had it in his hand, and like they blasted it out of his hand, or he dropped it or something. So it just like fell off. Okay. It's kind of like the way Luke's lightsaber. So maybe Maz Kanata has it, but it's kind of like the way Luke lost his lightsaber on Bespin.
Deleted Rebel scene where he goes back to that tower and picks it up.
Yeah. But I agree. This is a show for people who are Star Wars fans. Like seeing my mom try to watch it, or my wife try to watch it. They're just like, I don't know any of these characters. I'm watching it just because of Star Wars. But this is really a show for the deep-seated fans. So to just ignore something as important as a saber, it was kind of weird to me. Like you said, Tony, he just threw it together, and you're like, oh, we just throw sabers. And I get it. It's probably a rough draft. And I wish we could talk about the High Republic new comic that came out, but they pretty much just make cheaply made lightsabers that can be assembled. Instead of taking 10 years to make a lightsaber, they just, here's some cases that you could screw together and kind of choose how you want to choose it, type of thing. Here's a bunch of cylinders. So
it's not to be overly precious with the lightsabers, but I just feel like at this point in time it should be a big deal for somebody to be able to make a lightsaber, just because.
Well, they didn't have time for all that pomp and circumstance, though.
I get it, but I just
because Ezra, you proved that Ezra can handle himself without the saber in the previous episode. So then they gave the saber in a quick second and then ran off. It's like, okay, well, they could have saved that moment when they had more time, because they did it. And while it was funny, him digging through, and Hu Yang's like, my organization, no. And he's just tossing pieces. It was comical, but I love the idea. So that's my only complaint, is I love the idea of connecting with kyber crystals. So it's like, it felt like it was a missed thing. That's the thing. I like the idea so much. I wish I could have seen it a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, we never got to see Luke make his. I mean, there was that deleted scene, but it doesn't show him going to get the crystal. It shows him putting the saber together. So it's.
I'm glad Disney is finally telling the story, because it was ignored for 40 years. Oh my God, I'm old, but still, it's been ignored forever. And I'm glad that Disney is finally exploring it. And I really got to catch up on that comic, because it's lore and I want to read it. So
yeah, we jumped a little bit forward right now in talking about Ezra making his lightsaber, but again, my biggest issue with this series is just the fact that Sabine, training to become a Jedi. Like it just doesn't sit with me at all. It just came out of
It
left field.
doesn't seem necessary. It does. Yeah, it doesn't seem.
I don't get it.
necessary.
Like it's just
Training or training in the ways of the Force.
Training
or do you equate
training in the ways of the Force. Like I just don't they didn't sell it to me. I just couldn't buy it throughout the series. And just the way that it happened at the end, I knew that's exactly how it was going to happen. She was going to get in some major pickle, and all of a sudden she was going to be able to use it. But not only that, I would have been almost fine if it had just been her grabbing the lightsaber like she did. But then to cut to them, all of a sudden, okay, she just finally grabbed a lightsaber when just a few episodes ago she couldn't even move a coffee cup. And now she's able to force throw Ezra, like
Space Jesus.
The Force awakened in her.
Space Jesus.
It's
Get
just
in touch with
ridiculous.
her 7-year-old. That was awesome.
I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool moment when she grabbed it, and then when they're flinging each other back and forth. I thought it was neat.
Yeah.
I was always in the camp of in Rebels when people would complain about like why can Sabine jump around and leave. But this is their way of explaining why she was able to do all this supernatural physicality in Rebels. Because she kind of did have latent Force abilities, and like now she's unlocked. Same thing with Rey. I mean, she had and Anakin, like they had it in them the whole time. They just didn't. No, didn't believe, and now Sabine's like, at this point in the show, she's like, okay, I got this, I can do this. Where life's on the line, I'm gonna grab the saber, and like then it unlocked in her, and now she's able to kind of tap into it.
I
It's
liked
not
it
gonna be
because it
Yoda.
was like once she stopped trying so hard, she could actually do it. It's like when you're trying to do anything. Like once you stop trying so hard, you let go of all your fears and all your misgivings and all that, you can just do what you're trying to do.
She's going to be like the
it spoke
second
to me.
Mando, the second Mando Jedi now, because there's only the original one and
Well,
then her
that's
now.
if she trains to be like in the Jedi art. So I've been saying the whole time I'm on the fence about it. I'm still on the fence. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it either. I'm just like, let's just see what you can do with it. I'm not like a big fan of it. That she's just like,
The Force doesn't belong to just one person.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean
that she needs to trust. It'll happen when she trusts in the Force, or when she believes in it. I think she says trust in her abilities with it, and in that moment, we've seen that in other characters, I believe. In that moment, Force abilities get amped. It's that you got to lift the car off your kid kind of thing. And how did you do that? I don't know where that strength came from. I couldn't do it again. To me, it was that kind of thing. Also, the culmination of what we were watching and her transition, that's where the 7-year-old kid in me was excited to see her Force grab a lightsaber and help. Ezra did the Force jump. She just did a bit of an at the end there to Force push, because she had to in that moment that it was lifting the car off, the kind of thing. I doubt she could, I don't want to say do it again, but you know what I mean? That it was that moment that allowed that level of Force ability
to come or die at that point.
And have that
her grabbing the lightsaber was the lifting the car moment, but her pushing, completing the Force push to get him across, that was just, I don't know.
Now, she had seen that, right? I'm thinking she saw Ezra. No, I know Kanan and Ezra had done it, but did she witness it?
That. Yeah, I don't remember if she saw it or not, but I'm sure she knew about it. But whether she saw it or not, she knew about it.
On the ship ride home or ship ride wherever, she was like, yeah, Kanan, and I jumped, Force jump, and then he pushed me the extra bit. So yeah, she's heard about that as an idea of sorts.
Well, and it's the will of the Force thing too that you see in every Star Wars movie. Why can 3PO and R2 run across laser bolts without getting hit? All the stuff it's the Force does factor into that. I was halfway through this episode. I'm like, where's Sabine's jetpack? I was like,
they just didn't have a jetpack all series, so
yeah.
I think she left it back at the tower, didn't she? I think they kind of cut to it. They showed it, but Balin
brought her to this other galaxy. He wasn't going to let her have her jetpack and guns and all that sort of stuff. She gets that back when they put her on the Howler and say, "Good luck. Here's your weapons." Don't recall though how she got her helmet. Or Ahsoka brings her helmet, I think, right?
Does she?
Yes,
Yeah,
she
Bail-
does.
she didn't have it when she went with Balin. I think
Yeah,
Ahsoka found it at the henge, and brings it with her.
Yeah, 'cause
And
that was another clappy moment in my house too when she put the helmet on, and was gonna go
sure.
right out. Yeah.
I do
just
like
say-
how it actually.
on.
I do like how it actually shows Mandalorians putting the helmet on and off, because when it was Din, they would do cutaways. They would do a cutaway that it's like they'd only show the chin, and I think it wasn't until Bo-Katan where you actually kind of see her at least put it on, and then they do a cutaway.
Well, the mustache gets in the way.
Yeah, well, Sabine is just like tossing that thing on and off, and I think it's really cool because they always did cutaways, and it always kind of bothered me. It's like, well, here comes the stunt man, and Sabine will just drop that thing on and go into battle. I'm like, okay, I do like that they're not cutting away. Like, it's on top of the head, cut away. Now it's to the shoulders. So I do like she's just one hand throwing it on.
She has a small head, and he doesn't, so it becomes a bit of she can put it on a little, throw it on and off it a little easier than the guys can. I don't know. That's my take on why it might happen.
Well, yeah, it's just I'm glad that they're doing away with the cutaways. They're actually showing characters put it on and off, because it adds. When you cut away someone changing, you're like, well, there's the stunt man, where it's just like they just drop it on and they run in the battle. I'm like, okay, that's what I want to see, is that transition through the character. So that's just good filming type of thing. They've done it a couple times now, and I'm glad they're sticking with it fully in this series. It's just cool editing that I liked.
I think with the Sabine Force Jedi and all that kind of stuff, conversation and stuff, I haven't found it quite as convincing. I know what people said about Rey in the sequel trilogy, all that kind of stuff. I can get with that, with the dyad and all that kind of stuff. I can that acceleration I can get, and there was a little bit of a not quite working stuff in the first Force Awakens before she sort of gets her Force mojo and stuff. I didn't quite feel that gravitas of the situation in this episode as I had that when Rey needed it, or Luke really needs to get his lightsaber and stuff. But I think one thing we don't know yet, it could still be that the planet has some influence on Force abilities, which we don't know yet.
That's true.
And that it could all be her use of the Force could be accelerated by what's on the planet.
Well, because even on the Mortis episode, I was watching the first one the other day, and like Anakin and Obi-Wan both remark, like, I feel it too, the Force is unusually strong here. So maybe it is there, and so it enhances you a bit, And
then where were they when she tried the cup? Where were they when she tried to move the cup across the table?
On the dirty table.
Yeah, on the dirty table.
Just
in the ship.
They were just on Ahsoka's ship.
They weren't.
Yeah, it was the second.
Yes,
that was on the second episode. So
yeah,
they were just going around.
So that was miles away from the planet and stuff. So there's still a chance that the planet has a major influence on Sabine's use of the Force.
Well, I like to think that characters just do it themselves, type of thing. There is, cause and reason, and even in the novels, where people can get stronger, and High Republic does it great, where people who don't even have Force abilities.
Yeah, we had it on Planet X. Everybody was pretty much getting Force.
Yeah,
stuff.
like they could sense the trees, they could feel. They're like, "Is this what it's like to be a Jedi?" I don't like to think the same about Peridia. There is strong planets, but to give her. Because then when she returns to the galaxy, if she's just weaker, it'll be like,
that's a great story arc. Like she's like, what happened? How come I thought I was going to be a Jedi? Now she's like, I'm back to normal.
Well, then we got to go through her whole story again. It's like, and I'm going to try to move a cup again. It's like, no, we told the story. You have powers. How I feel about it is irrelevant. Let's just move on. You got powers now. So, but what happens to these characters now? I mean, they're trapped on this planet. That's super crazy. That's something I did. I kind of expect.
And I'm thinking, like, will the Spaceballs even come back, knowing there's a minefield there now? So they might not come back.
Well,
I don't think they're gonna.
Die,
no, I don't
why do they care if they literally go there to die? So why not just go there and die by explosion? I'm going here to die anyway. Who cares how it is? Suicide.
Well, they even got. They're still around.
They didn't go there to die though, because they took off, right?
It's literally. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
Oh, yeah, they jumped off, didn't they? Yeah.
Remember,
They're like,
Thrawn
I'm out of
says,
here.
Yeah, somebody says that, or Thrawn says that, but that doesn't necessarily. Well, how does he? They're such an unknown that it might seem that way, or when it's time to die, that might be where they go. But they also go there for other reasons and at other times. But it's not. I don't behold that as that's why they traveled from one galaxy to the other.
They're
But
not like
when
it's time for the
to die-
purgle to end. Or,
it's got to be mating. Just from at the beginning, there's no reason to travel there. That's what
Well,
they do.
That's what all that. That's all that debris field is. It's just past mating experiences and stuff.
Things that didn't work out. Yeah.
Like that's like a mantis where they kill their mate. It's all just dead males.
So what about the big bit with the Mortis god statues and stuff, and Balin's statue, health and safety gone mad? But
I thought that statue. I didn't realize until I seen the internet that was even the Mortis father. I thought it was a member of the Sith race because I thought they had tendrils on the side of the mouth. So I didn't even realize until it was the afterlife, where people are like, "Oh, okay, this was the father," and you could see the son next to him, and then the daughter
missed that the first time round. Yeah.
So totally good because I was so focused on Balin.
The table. What did everyone? So Ryan didn't. As soon as I saw it, I was thrilled to be a Star Wars fan that I kept with it all to recognize, holy, that's the father. That's a statue of the father. And that brings Mortis to corporeal, if you will. That brings Mortis to real life, because before it was unexplainable. It was just a thing in Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka's head. They just were gone off the comms for all of a blip of a second. So it was it real? Wasn't it real? But to see a carved Mortis father means that galaxy, he exists, or somebody.
And the son and the daughter
knows where to carve such a thing or to project something, because as I'm talking to that, I'm realizing Obi-Wan and Anakin could also carve one. They saw the father, the son, and the daughter, but I think when they leave there, they don't necessarily remember any.
But we do see the mural in Lothal on the temple, so
transpire. Oh, we do see the mural. Nice. So that makes it. Who put that up? Somebody else knows.
But we did finally see Morai, though, the convert.
That makes it real in our universe too.
Yeah, which is cool. But the statue is like it's been there forever. So
how did that bird get there then? That's not another galaxy.
Oh yeah, that bird follows her around. So how?
The bird's there, but the statue of the daughter's gone. So.
Well, it could be that. Yeah. Did anyone pick up on what he was pointing at during the watching of the show? I will admit
I read it afterwards, but I didn't.
He was pointing at that mountain.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
But did you pick that up first viewing of the show?
No.
Wow.
Yeah, that it was pointing. Yeah.
Blinking light.
No, he was pointing at something, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just like that mountain range. Okay, cool.
Yeah. It was like, there's something we're going to.
It was like a little blinking light or something.
Yeah, that's what we. None of us. But you. So that's asking that first. I've seen the pictures and stuff, but I didn't catch it at the time.
Yeah, I did notice that, but it's like the whole Balin. Balin was my favorite character, I think, out of the series. Like I was really excited. The portrayal by Ray Stevenson was great, but ultimately I was very disappointed. Just that it didn't lead to anything. It's like
there's so much.
They put him in there, and then at the end, it's like, okay, he just appeared at the very end just to climb on the statue of the But it's like we never found out what is his motivation. What I know, but it's ridiculous. It's like tell me already what's going on. What is he doing? Don't show me how it's going to resolve.
You kids and your instant gratification with the internet.
This is the whole series. I don't know
seeking or what the story
is. What
he
wants or what he's doing or
they told you.
What did they tell me?
He seeks a beginning. He seeks a different power. They told us
all to stop the cycle.
Yeah, but what does that?
All right, Yoda. Like, come on. Like, just tell me.
It's yet to come.
That's the beauty of Star Wars storytelling. One story that we're watching.
And
it's the clone line all over again. Like,
let me say this, because I know Ron always brings up the thing about the Clone Wars, about that line. That's true, but the Clone Wars had absolutely zero bearing on that story. That's a throwaway line. You know, the Jedi, they brought up the Jedi, but then you do get explained, and you kind of need to know what a Jedi is. The Clone Wars, you did not need to really know anything about them in A New Hope. They had that line was a throwaway line because it piqued your interest about Pat's history, but it had no bearing on that story.
Well, at the time, we didn't know you were going to get a sequel to Star Wars either.
Balin and what
we know that now, but when he says that at that time,
yeah, but at that time, like, it didn't change.
It still meant nothing.
Wars, it didn't add or bring anything to A New Hope.
But we know that we're getting more of the story, though. We didn't know we were getting more in A New Hope. We know that there's going to be a continuance of the story. They're not just going to put it all on your plate all at once. Like, it's and I'm happy that like the movies
didn't what say. We know afterwards and what we know of Obi-Wan and everything that goes on. But at that point in the story, he's just some strange old man that shouldn't be trusted, according to his uncle, who Luke should trust more than the crazy old man whose hovel he's in at that time. And that's my point of to the Balin thing to some extent of we're just at this point in time of the story, and we'll get to the end of the movie, we'll end of the story, and we'll see what Balin has. That's all whenever I bring that up is just we'll get there. That sure, I want Balin's story or what was he there for, and all the juicy tidbits too. But it was an 8-episode show about Ahsoka that I'd much rather have that dived into than a quick hit thing. And he did explain why he was there, what he was seeking, and what he was going for, and it leaves it wonderfully open-ended, if you will, to expound and have a Star Wars story in a completely different universe, but still tied to ours and all the Force that we know. I'm intrigued by it versus upset by not knowing more about what's going on, because there's more to come. There's more to the story that's going to be presented to us at some point in time. Hopefully,
it's 1980. We've just walked out of the theater to watch Empire Strikes Back. We don't know what's going to happen next.
We're not in that era.
Another one.
Well,
we know we're going to get another piece of it. So now we have a couple years to speculate on what's going to happen. So and that's the fun
weird thing is they didn't say to be continued. They didn't say Ahsoka will appear again. It's just really weird that
we already know there's
they will. But I just find it really weird that they're not teasing in. Like, there's nothing on the docket. Like, the Skeleton Crew's coming up at the end of the year. The strike is happening a month ago. This show's been worked on.
Come out too.
You can't blame the strike from a couple months ago over a series that was written a year ago. Like, this series
doesn't need a pretty bow on it right now. It's still.
I'm not asking for a bow. I'm just saying it's weird that we don't see where this is going at all. There's no announcement. There's another series of Ahsoka. There's no announcement that there's a link between. Anything between they could have said, "Oh, Ahsoka." There's nothing. I just thought that was really strange.
No post credits.
But I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. When Empire come out, did we know we were getting Jedi?
No, we didn't know we were getting Empire Strikes Back.
No, we don't know at the end of New Hope at 77, 78, but eventually we know pretty quickly. But when they say, okay, we're going to get Empire, do we say we're going to get 2 more? Or that one's a piece of history that I can't necessarily remember of how any of that may have thrown down.
Mark Hamill said it in an interview. We're getting 2 more.
Yeah, we knew pretty quickly after Empire for sure that it was coming. Like I think probably as soon as it was like a box office hit,
that's a different era. We expect Marvel go on forever.
Well, now everyone's dead. I want to know.
I think that it's not that. It's really not just the instant gratification. It's just in my opinion, it's become too common for this type of storytelling, where all they do is just give you mystery after mystery. Like, if anybody, I don't know if any of you watched Lost. Lost was a show
we did a whole podcast
that lived and breathed on just mystery to mystery to mystery. And at the end of it all, it didn't really pay off. You know what I mean?
You should have been on the pod. You should have been on that pod episode.
And people said that about the Mortis arc too. Like, they didn't explain it. They never went back to it again on Clone Wars. Nothing. Like, what?
And that's fine. You know what I mean? It's like that was it. But even the Mortis arc, it was its own little self-contained, like 2 or 3 part, whatever it was, arc, and that's fine. They didn't go back to it. But what happened there it all kind of answered itself. It still maybe left you with questions, but it answered itself in that arc. That story that was being told had a middle, a beginning, a middle, and an end. You know what I mean? It still maybe left you with questions, but as it is, they didn't necessarily need to be answered. We could always revisit them and expand on it more. And that's what's happening now. Is like now that they're seeding these things, or they're just threading it. They create this character, make him very interesting, and they spread him across these 8 episodes, and he's not really doing anything. Which
do you think it's because that he's gone and he's not going to be Balin anymore? Is that adding to it?
No, that's a whole different disappointment for me. And that was basically my biggest fear about the character, knowing beforehand that the actor was no longer with us. That was my biggest fear. He was so good that my fear was that they wouldn't wrap up his thing, and that did come true. But my biggest disappointment is that I really don't know what his motivation was. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay, he wanted power or whatever. Well, what does that mean? Don't, give me the whole, I don't see how he's actually going to get it. Like if he gave me a little more information about what he wanted, I don't know, made it, I'm not articulating it properly, but I didn't get a real good sense of what it was. If they had built it up a little more and then they ended with the Mortis father statue, it would have been like, oh, okay. But I don't know. It didn't work for me. They didn't build up his character. I needed more information for that impact. The impact of the Mortis statue didn't land for me because they didn't build him up enough. They didn't give me more of what he was after. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm like, okay, so the Mortis statue, it's like, oh boy, here we go. More cryptic stuff, which that's what the Mortis is. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was just, that was a disappointment with me. I expected more out of his story, and I just feel I didn't get it. And I feel like they're leaning too much into the whole mystery aspect, and that's a Filoni trait. He loves the whole mystery thing. Like that's his form of storytelling.
Well, that's every show though. Everything does.
But that's the thing. It's like that's just what we've become now. Like a story for me, for my satisfaction. This is a personal thing. A story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You can always
the beginning.
I know, but it's ridiculous. This is a season. The season should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's
a big story arc. Yeah, there's a big story arc, which would be whatever, and then a little. But yeah, I do
this
agree.
This is the first book in this phase, basically. I mean, in reading High Republic, I've gotten used to this. Like
that's where I was.
Yeah, but in High Republic, they tell you what's coming next. They say, "Don't worry, there's another phase." In this, I just looked up all the upcoming projects for Star Wars, and they're focusing more on the movieverse. Like just the weird fact that they're not telling you where this story continues. Is it Ahsoka season 2? Because there's no way they could tell this whole story in just Filoni's movie 3 years from now. Like, you gotta give us something more, because at the every end of Mando, it's like Mando will return. Oh, I'm sure it will too. I have total trust that nothing's being abandoned at all. Even if something tragic happens, the story will go on. And
patience,
Tony's still point where it left everything so open. There was no finality to any storyline. It's just the entire storyline was left. There was no storyline because there should be an overarching storyline, which is what they do in Mando. They have the big story.
Ezra came home.
And then they have, that's really not. Again, that's the middle. So there was still no closure to any of the story where you felt like anything was kind of completed. So I partially agree with Tony. He has valid points, and that's fine. I just wish I knew. That's my only thing is I want more Star Wars. I just wish I knew where it was going next. Like there's no Ahsoka season. There's no movie announcement. It's just like, whoa, you guys announced project 3 years ahead, and you don't have any hint that there's another season of Mando. There may be another season of Boba Fett, depending on fan backlash. Skeleton Crew's coming out, which happens during this era, and that was pushed back some for this actor strike, but that doesn't affect projects that have been in the work for years. You still got to develop characters and stories. Like it takes years to develop this stuff. And it's just weird that there's nothing like, hey, by the way, Ahsoka will return in Ahsoka season 2. And that would have some finality where you're like, okay,
Yes.
I'll get more of this story then. But it's just
Yeah, I would have
it.
liked a post-credit, seven post-credit that made it clear that there was something to come. Being someone who's just watched several Netflix stuff and found that they got cancelled at the end, and you're left on a cliffhanger. This is a bit like that. This is a bit like turning to something you watch and you go, what when are we going to find the end of this?
It kind of goes without saying. I think we're going to get more. I mean,
we
they
definitely
didn't say anything, but I mean, we're going to get more. There'll be
the studios aren't going to announce anything right now because they don't want to commit, because then it's going to be a bargaining chip. Like, well, you guys told everybody that I'm coming back in season 2. Like, where's my contract? You know, like they're not going to, you know.
The last time they announced things and then it didn't happen, we got all up in arms about, you said in 26 we'd be getting this, and real world gets in the way, delays it. So I also kind of took it, maybe Filoni beholden to Star Wars doesn't do the to be continued or doesn't not to be continued, but doesn't do the Marvel thing of Tony Stark will return, or the Hulk will return and something like that. Just the movie ends, we speculate the heck out of it. We get an announcement and get excited about it.
It wasn't announced that he'd be back in Boba Fett, though.
They did it at the end of Mando and Boba Fett. At
the end of Mando, it said Mando will return in Boba Fett. No, it didn't.
Well, they said they'll return.
Get on a rant too. That's John Favreau's thing.
This is Favreau's universe. Filoni is just playing in Favreau's universe right now. Let's remember that. So I don't like Filoni getting credit for this universe. This resurgence of post Star Wars
stuff. They're all
stuff
playing in George's
fully
universe.
Yeah.
I'll push on that. Well, doesn't exist without Filoni's animated thing. So to say it's Filoni's or Favreau's universe, not Filoni's,
that's a different era, though. So that's a separate era. Filoni only wrote like 20 of the 130 episodes. Like,
how many did Favreau write?
That's a different era. It doesn't matter. So we're talking about it's Filoni's.
They're all playing in George's universe, so it's neither one of those guys is of it's their era kind of thing. But
I'm just saying,
anything gives me before I get Favreau's.
The New Republic era is. I'm not talking about this era of Star Wars. I'm just saying, there's eras: the rise of the Empire, the fall of the Empire. This is the rise of, this is the New Republic era. That's how they consider Star Wars now. Is the High Republic era, the Knights of the Old Republic. This is the New Republic, and the rise of the First Order. I'm saying this post 5 years Return of the Jedi up until the Force Awakens. This is Favreau's era. This is where he decided to write. Filoni plays a big part in it. I'll give him that. He's leading to his era. He's a huge addition to it. But just getting off that, I don't want to get too far away. Where Stephen was talking about cliffhangers and post credits. I guess we got to talk about changing topics. We got to talk about Hayden Christensen coming back as a Force Ghost for some apparent reason. As Anakin Skywalker, he was a Force Ghost, and you guys are well aware that every time I bring up Force Ghosts, I get very, heated that Anakin doesn't deserve to be a freaking Force Ghost, and I'll say it 1,000 times, no matter how many downvotes or hates that I get.
Made him a ghost in Return of the Jedi.
George also said in Return of the Jedi commentary that it was Yoda and Obi who brought him forward. In the commentary, he says, because people ask that, and in the commentary for the DVD special releases, he says, "Oh, Yoda and Obi helped to bring him forward." So he wasn't doing it on his own accord. And again, we all know that George Lucas does not write backgrounds for these characters. He does not give us the deep dives that the books and the comics and even the animated specials do. George gives the big cake. He gives the main meal, and then everyone else gives us, cookies and the side dishes and stuff like that. That helps flesh everything out. That's fine, but
he also evolves with his own designs too, so he could say that one day and then make something else later. Like,
Oh yeah, that's fine.
He moves the goalpost a lot.
Yeah, he does change a lot. So, but still, I wasn't okay with.
But Sabine didn't see him.
Ghost.
I don't know. Nobody saw him.
Only Ahsoka
just like
right?
Did Ahsoka see him?
I don't know. She just looked. She just looked off distance. Yeah, she felt. I definitely think she felt something.
I think it might have just been more for us to know what they were.
That's kind of what I felt. It was more for the audience than for them, But
and that's the problem. That's the problem. It's a nostalgia grab with no weight behind it.
And I'm all for it. Grab more.
I'm here for
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I felt
That's
the same about that. That was just their like a nice little,
Nod
at the
Because
end. It didn't.
Anakin is a killer. He is a warmonger who slaughtered children,
He was redeemed by his son.
Oh, he was not redeemed.
Yes,
He selfishly killed Palpatine. He did it for his own.
Ask the families of all the people that Vader killed if he was redeemed.
Exactly.
He brought balance. He killed everybody. He killed absolutely everybody.
It's what I always thought. It's like, it's true. I mean, whatever. He's redeemed in story, but I mean, with the thousands of people that he was responsible for killing over the years, ask their family members or their friends whether he was redeemed or not.
Well, had he survived and not died in Return of the Jedi, the New Republic would have put him in an office position somewhere, and he would have been an administrator.
Yeah. They would have put him in a basement.
They would have probably had him teach at a school. Who knows?
Well, just look at the Kenobi series. Vader literally drags a dad out the window and breaks his neck in front of his wife and kids. Like, Vader is I love Hayden. I'm glad to see he's getting all this love again. When he was at Star Wars Celebration and fans cheered him and he teared up, I'm all, cool with him being on holocrons or whatever it may be he's teaching. I love that he's returning, and I love that these older characters are getting the respect they deserve. Hating the actor is an atrocious thing to do in real life. But this is, as a deep-seated Star Wars fan who reads a ton of stuff, it makes no sense. And I'll admit,
and that's still kind of like goes to him, the redemption thing. Like maybe Ryan, he's still like trying to redeem himself.
He didn't by himself to people.
He's helping Ahsoka. He later he helps Luke.
But as I've been saying ever since Shadow of the Sith, I do not like Anakin appearing as a Force ghost. Apparently, I'm being told that Return of the Jedi, from a certain point of view, fleshes it out a little bit more, which I haven't been able to even find that book, unfortunately. And I'm still reading Tales of Light and Life, High Republic, Markion Road books coming up next. So I will say my opinion can change if they give us more information on it, which I hear this book does. But right now there's nothing. This is a learned ability. As per George Lucas and everyone's god, Dave Filoni, this is a learned ability. Obi-Wan learned it. Qui-Gon Jinn learned it first, taught it to Obi-Wan, taught it to Yoda. They taught it to Luke. How did
they learn it?
Because
what do you do? What do you do to learn it? That's not
just fine. If they want to,
how did they learn it? So Obi-Wan and Yoda bring him into it. They redeem him in order to present himself to Luke, because that will help Luke on his journey to some extent, right? Well, why would they redeem him? Why would they bring him find him in the Force and allow him to become a Force ghost like that?
Well, he does look at himself and he's like, like maybe they did bring him back and then they told him, okay, well, this is how you do it. And they had a little ghost meeting.
The Force Ghost in Ahsoka of Anakin was a little weird. Why would it be there like that? It was very nostalgic. Just a fan nod, or I haven't squared it in my head of.
Whoa, Ron is speaking negative of this series. Let me write this down, everybody.
I wrote a letter to Dave Filoni and told him, please put Anakin in the finale for nostalgia purposes. And
I'm just kidding.
I have a huge thing about Force Ghosts because we've talked about this before, because it becomes a time travel type of thing that people are always like, well, a Force Ghost could tell this person how to do X or how to fight Grievous or how to do Y or whatever. Force Ghosts have to have some sort of limiting factor. My limiting factor had always been they have to know the person in real life in order to then sort of appear as a Force Ghost to them. And then for how long? How long can a Force Ghost be around to help somebody? That seems to have some sort of waning, it has to have some sort of expiration period of sorts.
And that's the thing. That's also in canon, Ron, is Shadow of the Sith proves that Anakin has an expiration date as far as being a ghost, because in the book it was most likely written because he
just to be clear, you lost me there. But yeah, go ahead.
You read the book, Ron.
Yeah, but I can also say the same thing about the animated series.
Count as but yeah, no, it was a canonized book. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ryan. Tell me what's in it, because I won't remember.
I can say the same thing about the animated series. There's lots of people that are like, I ain't watching the animated series. There's lots of people that say they don't read the books, but they exist. But anyway, in the book, he appears and he literally says, this is the last time I could do this, because I had to do so much power to. I don't want to give so much away, because Shadow of the Sith is.
Yeah. He sort of said that he had burned out the batteries.
Even saying that he appears in Shadow of the Sith, I feel bad, because it was a huge shock. Like, I was blown away. So I hate even admitting it, because I don't like spoiling things, and I want people to experience the surprise, but it's getting everywhere now.
When does Shadow of the Sith take place in relation to this? In relation to the Ahsoka series? Way after?
Yeah, before Force Awakens, because that's the thing with Ochi and everything, right?
Yeah, at least
Rey's already born. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Rey's 6, so that's like almost 16.
So he can still appear for a little longer.
Yeah, it's true. So, but I'm just saying, on Ron's point, where there's an expiration, and that may not apply to everybody. You know, like I said, this is learned. Qui-Gon's still appearing. How many years?
I want to say
23.
I want to say that the expiration date that you're talking about, that goes back to Legends. If I'm not mistaken, I kind of feel like Obi-Wan had an expiration point in one of the books too. Like I think he brought that up.
He did. That was an Heir to the Empire.
Was it? Okay, see, it was an Heir to the Empire. Yeah. So that's like an old thing. Like they do have and I hate that we're saying expiration date, but they do have a limited amount of times that they can tap into that or appear.
I like to, and where Ron was saying, well, why do they appear and who? I like to think that they only appear when they're ready. And Kenobi helps support that, where it's your master wants you to learn on your own. People just can't keep popping up at any second. You know, you have to learn that, you know, you can do this on your own, Obi-Wan type of thing. And when you're ready to move on and you've accepted it, I'll appear to you. I'll teach you something new. Same with Yoda. He taught Yoda what to do. He appeared to Yoda. He taught him. And that was 30 years. You know, when he appeared to Kenobi-Wan, that was 23. That was 32 years after he died.
Yeah.
It's just, we all need just like we need explanations on how lightsabers lift people up in the air. I feel like I need explanations on Force Ghosts, and we do have some information on that, but it just seems like a total nostalgia grab to throw him in there in this series with no explanation when Anakin is the devil. Like, he is the worst person that ever happened to the Jedi in the Jedi Order. Like, he killed countless people. He was a warmonger, manipulated his whole life. Yeah, I'll feel sorry for him.
Yeah, he was manipulated, though. Well, he was the bads. He was manipulated.
The way to explain that away is just to say that Anakin was good. It was Vader that was bad. I know that they're one and the same, but
Anakin was not good. He killed all them Tuskens. He always for war and not for diplomacy. How many times?
You're just nitpicking now.
I am, because Anakin is, and again, this is more because I read the High Republic.
Well,
that's the problem, Ryan. You read too much High Republic.
Well, it's because it's where the Old Republic is you get to read all the backstory on the Sith. The High Republic is you get to read all the backstory on the Jedi, and you really see the hope that the Jedi bring. You know, they truly are the light of the entire galaxy. They save millions of people and they die left and right for sacrifice. And then you jump to Anakin, who's just like, let's burn the whole building down. You know, like, what? I don't care who dies. Like, blast them. And Obi-Wan's like, well, maybe we should talk to the diplomats first. And Anakin's like, well, talking doesn't solve anything. Let's go kill everybody.
Maybe the chosen one gets special, not the Diode of the Force. The chosen one gets a bit of extra Force magic and stuff. I don't know. Anyhow.
Well, Anakin is not a god. He is prophesied to bring balance to the Force. That's it. He was not prophesied to live forever.
You could gods
balance Force is all about Mortis and that kind of stuff. And
more gods, and he wanted him to take his place.
Yeah, but what even are? I mean, you're telling me that nothing matters The Sith don't matter. The Jedi don't matter. Just the father, son, and daughter. That's the only thing. I don't even think I really like the Mortis guys.
According to the Bendu, only the Force matters, not Jedi.
I love
Sith.
Bendu. Well, I mean, Bendu's great. I freaking love him. But I don't truly understand the point of the Force. You're telling me nothing matters except all the history, 25,000 years of Jedi battling Sith and all these deaths and rise and fall of planets. The only thing that matters is that this dude's two kids get along. That's it. Nothing matters. So I don't even really.
Freddie Murphy says nothing really matters. So, he's kind of a king.
It's a parable for how the galaxy works with the
we can talk all about that next episode when we've got absolutely nothing else to talk about.
We need to do your questions
and stuff
before we
we need to get through the show.
Overall, great series. I may have been negative where people felt like, but I want to say this was a fantastic series overall. Lots of things. I did nitpick. I don't want people to think I'm negative. It was just overall, this was a great series. I just want more. That's the only problem. I want to see more, man. And there's nothing wrong.
We're prescribing Ryan's medication right now, and he'll be back next month. I
highly recommend, if anybody hasn't done it, or I'd like to ask if anybody's done it. Have you binged the whole thing as a whole, or maybe 4 of them and then 4 of them again? Rewatched it as a whole, because that goes a long way towards how we analyzed it and we hypothesized and speculated week to week and had our share of fun of, we didn't get any of this information, but then next episode we get that information. That I highly recommend doing that to this Ahsoka series, because it was chock full of dialogue and action, and there's a lot in this once you go back and rewatch it and go, okay, this was a fun ride. It was over quick. I can't believe here we are talking about episode 8, the finality, but it was a fun series to watch.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the problem with week-to-week streaming, is that we tear down these ideas when they're just going to be explained in 2 episodes. It definitely is better if you view it all as a binge and let the story unfold, rather than creating all these expectations that everybody's a zombie and Abeloth is returning. And it's just like, no, we're just going to just end it on really something's going to happen. These people are stranded. Ezra is apparently, he returned, and Balin's doing something, and Shin is now running a gang. It's more to be told, I guess.
You talked about the Ezra returning. That was the one thing that we'll watch. As soon as it became evident, I did the face palm, or the palm to the forehead kind of. Well, clearly that makes the most sense. That Thrawn and Ezra go back, and everybody else they were the ones stuck there the longest time. It makes sense that they're the only ones that get back to the galaxy. Why didn't I think of that kind of thing? It was. I just remember having that thought as I'm watching the show, going, "Oh, okay, this makes a whole lot of sense." As soon as you start to realize and think about it.
Okay, we're going to have to get to the end here, folks, because some of us have got other things to go to and food to be eaten and all that kind of stuff. So we've got to go back to the questions that I asked at the start of the show. If everybody's any time to think about this. We had, I still can't remember now, Maury. Yeah, so we see Maury at the end of the Ahsoka finale, which actually we never really mentioned in a little talk there. And the question was, what colour is Maury's eyes, and how tall is she? So, does anyone guess what kind of her eyes
are they the same color, or is this a trick question?
No, there is a colour.
I'm saying, are they the same? It's not like,
both eyes are the same colour. Colour.
I have my answer.
All right. Okay. Right. Well, just give your answers, Ron.
I'll go green.
Ryan?
And height. And we're doing it. And height?
White. Ricky?
Orange.
I said what? Yellow. I said height. I said, do you also want the height?
No, do that in a minute.
Green. I also say green.
All right. Tony?
Purple.
Marie?
Green.
Yeah, the answer is green. I couldn't remember either until I saw this question. And for height, I'm not sure how anybody's going to guess this, unless people know the average height of a parrot or something like that. I don't know what you want. Anybody want to drop in with a guess?
1.5.
I'm going to say 3 apples tall, like Hello Kitty.
3 apples tall.
I do
How
know
much is
the
that?
average velocity of a laden swallow. The height in 2 feet 8 inches.
I've only got it in inches.
Not 9 inches.
24.
24, 32.
Oh, 9
Inches.
inches. I'm going to give that one to Ryan because apparently it's 8 inches. Which seems
small.
Well, you gotta you gotta think. The thing appears on her shoulder. It sits in a tree.
is
It's
true,
just a
that is
bird.
true.
But 9
Yeah.
inches is small.
That's a small bird, yeah.
Excuse me, Ricky. Sorry.
It's called, but yeah. Sitting on her shoulder, I don't know. So.
Yeah, right.
Makes sense.
I mean, there's like some art depicts it, and there's toys that have like the figure and special. But you remember the thing just sits in a tree or sits on her arm, just holds your hand up, and it's like whoop, just this little fat thing. So yeah, it's just an owl. How many? You think an owl is 2 foot tall? Are you guys fighting owls? They would
Have
be
you
taking
never
over the
seen
earth.
an owl here where I
Oh.
live? They're like huge. They're like 3 feet tall.
Yeah, we have big owls too.
With the wings out, like
No, all. They look like giant dogs.
Okay. No more owl discussions. The other question was about the sword of Talzin, and in the Clone Wars, who did Mother Talzin deal with using the blade? I know Ricky knows the answer. Does anybody else want to guess?
I'll guess.
Mace. I'm just gonna guess
Yeah,
Mace.
go on. Okay. Yeah, go, Marie.
Asajj Ventress.
Anybody else?
They mentioned the Sword of Talzin. I didn't recall it at all. I just thought it was an homage, or otherwise they conjured up the sword and gave it her name because she was a mother. So I didn't recall it being a thing at all. So I got no idea.
I just figured Talzin's a common name on.
A common name in the
Is it a
Sisters
title
world.
or yeah? Was it a title or a name?
It's her name.
I don't know.
The leader of the Night Sisters was Mother Talzin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can
but
get Talzin
I don't
t-shirts
think
now.
it necessarily. I think it was kind of like a little
Okay, nobody else got
Easter
it.
egg to her. But no, I
Yeah,
don't
nobody
think
else got it. Sorry.
what is it?
Well,
Count Dooku.
we'll let Ricky explain.
She fought Count Dooku and Mace at the same time, right? In that episode?
Well, I don't
Don't
know. It just
remember.
said in this one it was mostly Windu, but yeah, I think she probably did use it
I got it.
against.
What do you mean? And nobody got it. I got it.
They were both there.
It's a Mace.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
arc with the Jar Jar Binks on that
Jar Jar
planet when he
Binks,
goes with
oh,
Mace.
yeah.
So I said Mace and Jar Jar.
When she dies, when Mother Talzin finally dies.
A Mason Jar Jar? Isn't just a Mason Jar?
Mason Jar Jar. Jar Jar Mason.
Mason Jar.
Which is honestly one of the best teams in Star Wars. That was a really good episode.
That's a really good episode. I need to watch that one again because
Surprising.
that is funny.
Like-
yeah.
A good foil. So but yeah, it was. I thought it was Mace. Like,
If you're going to have comedy effect, you've got to have it with somebody who's serious as well. I think that really works the best, and they work off each other. So that is a really
Dooku
good
there
episode.
too?
So I got to watch the Mortis trilogy, and I got to watch
Watch
that
that.
episode again.
Interesting. I gotta
Okay.
watch that.
Right, so we have reached the end of this. Hang on a minute. We reached the end, folks. This is how the episode ends, with thunderous applause. We will be back here next episode, where we will probably still be debating Ahsoka and Force Ghosts and stuff, and the size of owls. So it's time for everybody to say goodbye. So it's goodbye from Marie.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Tony.
Goodbye, everyone.
It's goodbye from Ricky.
Bye-bye.
It's goodbye from Ryan.
for light and life.
Excellent. And it's goodbye from Ron.
Cheers, fellow senators, Chancellor.
Enjoy Halloween, Ron. Enjoy Halloween.
Looking forward to it. Boy, I'm loaded up. My trick-or-treaters are going to get hooked. I'll talk all about it.
You heard it here, everybody. Ron is
getting my plane ticket now.
Can't wait to hear what you're
that Ollie's bargain store thing is yeah. I've got way too much stuff. I better have a lot of trick-or-treaters this year.
Lucky people wanted it. Okay, folks. Bye-bye.
Good talk. Good talk, everyone. Bye.
Go switch off. I am the Senate.
Be sure to follow us online. We're at Facebook at PSW Senate. Join our Plus W Star Wars Facebook group, where we all are in there interacting. You can find us on Twitter at PSW Senate. On Instagram, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. And on TikTok, we're at PSW Senate Podcast. We look forward to hearing from you.
The Force will be with you, always.
Yeah. I can see you as a photo now. First time as a photo.
Really?
That's just Tony. So, yeah, just Tony now as a as TC in my nest.
How do you add a photo?
Go to profile, I
I
think, and then you can.
thought you had.
I know you guys mentioned it last week, and I don't know, I had never even thought about it. So I went looking, and I don't know, I couldn't see
It's
where.
in your profile. Yeah, it should be in your profile. If you click on your face, up in the top. You click over your face, you get a little pencil thing on to update profile photo.
Yeah, that's what's pretty sad. I don't know. I
You're on a
couldn't figure it
laptop?
out. I'm on my iPad.
No, it should still be there. You should be able to just click on your photo and update.
Yeah, I'll have to dig deeper. I kind of looked into it a little bit after last time, and I couldn't figure it out. So.
Steven, it was weird last night when I was trying to, adjust my Skype and make sure everything was working. Like my picture was gone. Yeah, it was gone. So then I clicked on it. I'm like, wait, I don't have this picture on my computer. I have it on my phone. So I was like, great. So I ended up just like getting out and then going back in, and then it worked. And then my picture was back. I'm like, that's weird. Yeah.
That's Microsoft.
Hey, can you hear
me? Yeah,
no,
like really loud.
Okay. Hey, can you hear
We're
me?
all awake now.
Someone's arrived.
Someone's here. Who's that?
That's Loudmouth Mr. Fields. Second place person.
Second place listener.
Second place.
What? Can you guys hear me okay? Do I sound...
Yeah,
you sound
I
great.
can hear you. Okay.
Sound all right?
I'm using my headset this time, so I don't know if it sounds good still or what.
Every time you say that, like, I'm looking at your picture and I just picture you knocking on your head because your communicator's not working.
check.
TK421, are you at your post?
Yeah.
Actually,
no, I'm watching a hollow vid.
Yeah, you look like you could have been on Ahsoka with that particular styled helmet.
Yeah, the red all over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
It would need to be a deeper red, I think, and it would have to have some gold in it. But yeah, pretty close.
Oh, definitely. Thrawn's got a taste for style.
He does things with style. It's weird. All the West Coasters showed up at once. I showed up, and then Tony and Ricky showed up right after me.
What's going on?
Well, I have my reminders off for Skype because of all those Bing questions. So I was trying to finish watching an episode of Ahsoka and run upstairs, and then my tablet was going off. I'm like, oh dang, I guess it started.
Well, every time we ask those dumb questions, you guys get notifications.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
so I
much.
just turned it off completely.
Yeah, my notifications are off because I was like, every time you guys are asking a question, there it goes.
I think I have mine off too because I never get.
Actually, every time it goes off, it was like, there goes Ricky again, asking Bing a question.
Hey, Steven was doing it the other day. So Steven started it.
Yeah, as well.
I thought it was Ricky because I don't know. Well, it's Ricky.
But still haven't worked out who this Mike Mendel is. I think it's completely confused with somebody else.
Like, where
the My Pillow guy?
I know, right? No, we're hosted by Mike Mando Mandel and Jen Jedi. What is it? I forgot the other person's name.
That's different to a couple of weeks ago. When we asked it first, it got two of the names.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Who are the hosts?
Yeah.
Well, maybe we.
Then I was arguing with it, and it was like,
we need radio
names.
Sorry.
They're like, sorry, this information is wrong. We apologize. I'm like,
yeah, that's what we could do. We could come up with that little. Well, I'm kind of stuck with Chancellor, but you guys can. You can think of something for what goes with your names. I don't know. That will jump in at once. We can think of one for Ron.
I don't think Ron's coming today. He was pretty bored overall, it seems like.
The guy was excited over Star Wars coming on TV yesterday, so he might still be watching.
He recorded it probably on VHS and yes. Ryan, you could be like Ryan, the note taker. So some of those. The note man. I don't know. The reporter. You have any news? Have we got any news?
Where did that pop up?
Just some books and comics releasing. There's no like news.
Right. Okay.
No upcoming shows or nothing coming. It's all just
a
dry. Other than the books. The books will keep me a lot. I'm actually falling behind.
SAG-AFTRA hasn't settled yet, have they?
The writers did.
The writers did, but the actors haven't, I don't think.
No.
And you can't really have a show without actors, so.
Have you seen the Kardashians?
At least
They could just do animated and make every show animated, couldn't they?
Voice actors.
Yeah.
I mean, all the talk shows are coming back. All the talk shows are starting up and stuff this week. So, yep. Apparently they're gonna have
not
guests.
By SAG-AFTRA though.
Yeah. Well, I mean the writers as well. I don't know who's gonna go on there.
I know exactly who's gonna go on there. Nobody. Like even Actors Equity in England has gone out on sympathy strikes, so they're not coming here.
So how much was I'm just getting the episode things up for Ahsoka. So David Tennant, was he actually physically there? Do you think at any point?
Yeah, they painted him silver.
Yeah.
They painted him silver, but he was allergic. So it turns out that they used the he probably did the motion capture as well as the voice.
You think so?
I think so.
I'd be surprised if he. I'd be surprised if he showed up.
Yeah, well, I think they would just did the voice for him.
The voice, yeah, they didn't. No, I was joking. I was joking about the motion capture thing because if you guys remember when Lord of the Rings came out, or not Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit came out, Benedict Cumberbatch made a big deal of the fact that he did the motion capture, but he also did the voice
for Smaug.
Yeah, for Smaug.
Wait, the dragon? He did a motion capture for the dragon?
He did motion capture for the dragon. Yes, that was him.
I don't know that.
Yeah, so the big joke was that he did the voice, but then he'd always add that he also did the motion capture.
He's laying on his stomach.
Like it was very important. Yes, it was very full on. It was weird. I was like, really? You motion captured a dragon? How did you make yourself into a dragon?
Maybe the facial expressions. I gotta finish watching those movies.
There's actual footage of him like slithering on the floor.
That's funny.
Just trying to see whether it says whether he was actually there. It was just the voice. There's not very much information about.
He's got that coming up. He's got that came out, and then Doctor Who stuff still going on. Like
Doctor Who, and he was in Good Omens, so he was doing a lot at once.
Yeah, so maybe just did it. Maybe just recorded them over Zoom or something and sent them in.
Yeah, I think he did just record the voice because I don't think he was required on set so much.
There's certainly not very many leaks, is there, from this show at all, really? Not much.
There were not. If we were all surprised that Anakin showed up.
Yeah, done very well on keeping things tight-lipped, I have to say. I didn't see anything anywhere. Well, I'm not looking at all those, shall we say, kind of Twitter stuff and thingies that might leak stuff, but it was pretty quiet this time. I liked it in that in that TV intro thing that I posted. That they got hooing I forgot again. Is it Huyang?
Yang, but they said it weird
Huyang,
on there.
Huyang, yeah. All these 2000, however old he is, knows all these moves and stuff, and now he's now he's a mechanic. But been put to good use.
I had to keep pausing it and replaying it when they were showing that she has new abilities, because I'm like, what are they saying at the last part? And I was like, oh, they're saying quick change, because they're making it seem like she walked out and changed.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that's great. Oh, nice. I thought that at the time. I'm not sure if I got round to saying it in the pod. Literally, she went from nothing to all that. Especially, I did say something, as I said, about trying to get the suit over those ears.
It wasn't that quick like they showed in that clip,
ears,
though.
you know what I mean. Yeah. Oh, no, Ron has arrived. He's slipped in through the back door.
Yep. And he's muted. So
He did. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had started and didn't want to just jump in, or if you were just doing some
No, we haven't started.
lively banter.
Ron, I was telling them that you were still watching Star Wars on TV. So.
Well, it starts at 11 this morning.
What station is it on?
FX.
Oh, okay.
Oh, FX.
Which is weird that it's on FX. Not
usually it's TNT or something.
The TNT. So did the TNT go? Because I think FX would be owned by Disney now, right? They own
it is. It is.
So
it's owned by Disney.
Did
TNT's also going to have them? Is what I heard.
Well, they had them for the longest time.
Yeah, they did, but I think they got them back, and then they were going to put it on FX. It's going to be on ABC and any other Disney-owned stations. TNT's not Disney-owned, but I think because they had that long partnership, and since it's going back on TV, I think they said, okay, well, you guys can have it too.
Well, yeah, that's where I figured they finally lost it, and then FX Disney put it on and was advertising, if you want to watch more of these or whatever, go buy Disney Plus kind of thing. But whatever it is, I don't care. It's on TV, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't realize it had already started. I just read the headline the other day and a little bit of the article, but I didn't realize it was already happening. I thought it was going to be like next year or at some point. I don't have like actual like cable TV anymore, so I don't have a lot of channels.
Well, streaming is just as expensive now, so
yeah, I have satellite.
Yeah, basically.
I told you all this would happen.
I said it was going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I know, and there's going to be a revolution at some point.
So I still have the cable TV.
Yeah, I can't watch the Suns or the D-backs.
Even nowadays, you can get away with watching probably whatever team you want to watch or whatever with the way things are.
Well, it doesn't do the same thing over there. They do over here now, like with the Premier League rights and stuff. They give out certain chunks of rights. So some channel will get 50 matches, another channel will get 80 matches, and this kind of stuff. So if you wanted to watch every single match that's being shown, you'd have to subscribe to like 3 different things. They're just really annoying.
To watch soccer?
If you want to watch every soccer, no, you can't watch every soccer match anyway because that's impossible for starters. But
to say soccer instead of football.
Yeah, to watch the ones that they're showing, it's really annoying. That's why I never really had a problem. Everything was all on satellite TV over here. I just thought this is great. I've just paid one big chunk and I'm getting everything I've always wanted. I never once thought I need to. I don't think I'm getting value for money here.
I guess I got to pay that silly license for a TV.
Yes. Well, I don't think it's silly, I'd say, but yeah, it's kind of like a bit like you guys over there with your amendments. Amendments, are they? I'm making them all up here now.
The amendments of the Constitution? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty silly as of lately.
Yeah, this is like one of ours. If we had
where does that money go to for the license for the TVs?
Government and the BBC. I think gets distributed to the BBC. I don't think they get every single bit of it, but they get.
So you guys don't have commercials, right?
Not on the BBC, no. But they can advertise their own stuff. So you will get, advertising what's on other channels and what's on the radio is quite often what you find now. But I don't watch much BBC TV live anymore, unless it's sports, unless it's 7 Sports that's on or news. I don't watch stuff live much.
We have
Streaming
BBC
is way
America
different.
here.
Yeah, streaming is way different over there.
Yeah.
Seems like you guys get a lot more shows on your streaming.
Well, we still get like we get different. Yeah, well, our Netflix isn't the same as your Netflix.
Yeah, and yours is Hulu. You guys don't have Hulu, right?
No such thing over here.
That's why everything's on Disney.
Is that what you mean by streaming's different? Is what's available to him, or the process or something is different for him?
What they have, yeah. Like you said, no Hulu. A lot of the stuff that we have is combined on Disney Plus.
Yes.
How much is Disney Plus over there? If you guys get Hulu pretty much for free.
Do we get Hulu for free? I never looked at it.
Well, I mean, this program we have on Hulu are on your Disney Plus.
Well, what we have on Hulu, it's like Stars or something. It's called.
We get
Disney
Stars. We get
or
Stars.
like another part of Disney. Yeah, that's basically the Hulu that they have.
Is it? I don't know. I don't look at it because it's just basically
where they show like kind of not like the Fox stuff and other movies you guys get over there.
It's stuff that's been on years ago, and not to say years ago, but in the last 20, 30 years and stuff on Stars and stuff. So
yeah,
it's
but
not
it's not a lot of the family-friendly, like the non-family friendly kind of movies, like more, like I think you guys have like the Alien stuff or like Die Hard and different things like that on there. Now they're all like
I haven't seen Die
kind of
Hard.
properties.
So should we get to Ahsoka? Should we get to Ahsoka then?
What's wrong with
so we don't.
What's wrong with Stars?
So we don't go for 3 hours again. So.
We won't go for 3 hours because I'm closing the call before then. So we're just going to go. So which was the last one we talked about? Can you remember?
The number 5. So the
last done.
Yeah, we have 6, 7, 8.
Yeah,
it's just 6, 7, 8 to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me just check on pronunciations a minute. So it's Haiti, Shin Haiti.
Hattie.
Hattie. I just say
yes,
Shin.
Hattie.
I just say Shin. No one ever calls her Hattie in the thing, do they?
No, it's just Shin.
It's Shin Hati.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shin Hati.
Just Shin. Let me see. Oh, I've got something. What's that? What's the name of Cass's father? Hamato Exono?
Ziono.
You should not say Ziono.
Zione.
He's not Italian. It's Zione.
It's Ziono.
Ziono.
I might just skip it and just say a tribunal member senator.
Say Kaz's dad.
A-hole.
Yeah, that asshole. Just say that.
Yeah. The one with small.
Edit all this out.
What's the name of that planet? Peridia is the planet, isn't it?
Terabithia.
No.
They found the Brits of Terabithia. Yes.
Well, you get that by the title of the last episode. Pretty close.
So we still want to step through it episode by episode. Yeah. Yes, I'll take that as a yes.
You can do the summary for the first one and then skip the second one and then do from all the 3 of them.
Yeah, because sometimes I need a reminder of some of the stuff that happened.
I think the 6th one was my favorite of the it's the one after the air. The 6th one was my favorite of the series.
That was the one where they meet the turtles and all that stuff.
Yep, turtle power. Yep, Xenomorphs. Yeah, wherever they are. Okay, all right. In that case, if everybody's ready, then let me get my.
Are we doing roundtable or news and stuff like that?
Are we going to? People want to? People got anything to say? Well, I could say round the table, and people can say anything if they want to say it, and then we're just moving on.
Round table. We watch Ahsoka again. We've got a lot to chew. We got a lot to chew through, don't we?
Yeah, it's another 3 episodes.
Yeah, but one's always gone to the market. Yeah. One's always going.
I don't think we need the round table. I don't think we need the round table then.
We can watch Ahsoka. Let's go.
Yeah, next month we can go over
Yeah.
We have nothing to talk about next month, so.
Well, we're gonna need to because Ron's gonna have Halloween, and we gotta know what he did. So.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, all right. Okay, everybody, are you ready? Okay, then we shall begin.